This is Tolhuistuin Pop-Up Talk Show. Come and join us. Feel what it's like to be in front of the camera. We're going to start. Yes, you're our. I would normally give you a virtual round of applause, but I'm not going to this time because we've lost the MIDI pad. And that's a wah wah wah. But if anyone's seen a small MIDI pad, do let us know. Anyway, my name's Mikey. What's your name?
Yes, sir. Sam.
I kind of knew that, but at least the people in the video know that. Come and join us if you want to. I know it looks like you're writing an email or something, but I guess you can write an email here. So it's just you and me, Sam, at the moment. Yeah, are you going to come and join us? No. Yes. Okay, fantastic. So we have got Sam. We've got me, Mikey. What's your name?
Sean.
Sean. So this is Tolhuistuin Pop-Up Talk Show. It is the talk show where you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It's up to you. So far, 95% of the chat has been about artificial intelligence. I maybe should not have mentioned that because there's going to be. We don't have to talk about AI. We can talk about other subjects, but it seems like that's yeah. Anyway, it's up to you. So we've got Sam, we've got Sean, I'm Mikey. Anything that anyone wants to kick off with? Any thoughts, comments, observations, suggestions, ideas?
No AI anymore.
Yeah. Any thoughts?
No AI, but what else is there to talk about?
True.
It seems.
Sean, have you got anything?
Mostly AI on the mind or copyright in relation to it.
All right. Okay. Well, that's an angle, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll buy it.
Yeah.
So we did this project.
Yeah.
So I work at Lancaster University for a project called Design Research Works, and we did a project with Year 4 children at a UK primary school, and we introduced them, like we built a prototype for them, and introduced them to generative AI, so they could use like a text-to-image model, like play around with it, and then like make some like pretty targeted, like reimagine their school using generative AI. We gave them a sheet at the end and asked them, thinking about copyright, we asked them, what of the thing that you do there is yours, right? So they could pick between the prompt that they write, the generated image, or something else, or both, right? So, like, if I remember the numbers correctly, 30 out of 50 chose the prompt,
Right.
because that's the thing they write. Right? So like they didn't claim any, from their point of view, didn't claim any ownership of the generated image itself.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting because like when you look at, for example, Twitter discussions around the copyright implications, a lot of people seem to like intuitively assume that it's both. Like the prompt came from my mind, right? And the generated image came from the prompt, so this should both be mine or something. So just throwing that out.
Sam, looks like you want to put in there.
Yeah, I'm just wondering though, I mean, is that because maybe at that age or because of the project there was going to be no value attached to the image anyway, right? So, if I was an artist doing that, I might claim because there's a potential to make money. But for kids, it's just nothing.
Well, they were going to get, there was some value attached in the sense that we asked them to reimagine their school, and they got to choose an image to go into a prospectus that showed that reimagined school. So there was some value attached to it.
What were the pictures of the reimagined school?
It was really cool. It blew our minds. Like, it was so cool the way the kids took to it, and like in a really reflective way, even though it was just like 6 weeks. Not 6 full weeks, but 6 lessons. 6 weeks. So they had things like a school hall with a galaxy ceiling, a library with beds in it. They had blue pizza food to be served at lunch. They had pizza robots, a lot of pizza, lots of robots. Yeah. And they've got interesting ideas as well, like robot teachers, and not because it's cool, but so that the teachers wouldn't go away for meetings and would never get sick because they wanted their teachers to be around all the time.
Okay, so it's all pretty good. I mean, in that case, it's AI helping with the human imagination. How important is copyright in that kind of journey of imagination? Is it important? Sean, have you got any thoughts on this?
I was wanting to ask, when the students were answering the question over who owns what, were they trying to say what should be owned or what is owned? because it's really weird right now that like our copyright regimes have changed a little bit over time, but we all kind of inherited them. They existed before we arrived in some form, and now we're like, okay, this is a weird angle on it, and we don't know what it can or should be. And so are people just trying to apply the pre-existing regime in some form, or are they inventing a new view over what is right and good to do here?
I mean, quite often, the other day we were asking, what was your first experience of music? But what was your first experience of copyright? How old were you when you first came across the idea of copyright?
Looking at that weird page in books that have like a lot more words than the rest of the book. When you start off with the children's books, like the children's books have the copyright statement in them.
Do kids understand copyright? Is it like a natural idea for us?
It might be a naturalized idea. I don't think it's a natural idea in that sense. So like, what we asked them, to go to your question, was like, which of the following do you feel is yours, right? So like, that's what we asked, because we didn't get into a like ownership as in like a financial capital, claim model. It was just about this, what do you feel is yours, basically. So I think it's quite interesting because it was on the same sheet, because we introduced them to the conundrum of, that there's a good case for all the diffusion models by this artist Greg Rutkowski, who's like famous D&D illustrator. So like a lot of people use his, in their prompts, use in the style of Greg Rutkowski to get like cool results, and he's pissed off, because he's a working, living artist, So like on the same sheet, we asked them, is it okay to use artist names, And before that, they had some exercises where they used Picasso, the completely underrated Winifred Knight, British painter, Jean-Michel Basquiat, like those kinds of artists. And then we showed them the Greg Rutkowski case, and it was like, he's got a grievance, And they were then like, is it okay? Well, it's not okay unless the artist has given consent and that kind of stuff, or they're dead. That's basically
So if you're dead, it doesn't matter. All right, so hello, welcome to Tokyoki. We have got Sean, we've got Sam, we've got Jesse. What's your name?
Jan.
Jan, and we're talking about kids and copyright and AI. And there's this cool project that Jesse was doing with kids, getting them to reimagine their school using AI image visualization or image generation. And but then it comes to this question about who kind of owns this stuff and what is right or wrong. What do the kids think? And basically the kids kind of think it's not okay to rip off artists. What's the name of the artist again?
Greg Rutkowski, that was the example.
Yeah. So it's not okay to say this image, do it in the style of Greg Rutkowski, who's apparently a famous Dungeons and Dragons illustrator. You're nodding. Do you know Greg? No. Anyway, so that's where we are basically right now. But we're talking about kids, we're talking about imagination, talking about copyright, we're just talking about other stuff really. This kind of new world of where your visions can be turned into an image that you can share with other people, and how do kids respond to that? That's where we are right now. Where do we want to go with this conversation? Anything, Sean? Yeah.
Sure. Well, one thought on that is we always talk about artists, but one of the things that people are quite eager to do in these models is use it to replace coders, people that are engineering things, which is, it's really interesting to me how we have this protected class of artistry and treat it as we should charge headlong into replacing coders, but also as a coder, I'm quite eager to use such tools and find that they can greatly expand my capacities in the future. But at the same time, I also know that some of my code is in those models, and that there's a capacity to reproduce code that has been fed into them wholesale, and then it doesn't carry the license statement that it's supposed to have in an open source setting. It's like a much clearer case of unlicensed reuse as compared to art where style is not actually protected, but in code the actual.
So you can say code in the style of Sean.
McGregor, yeah.
Sean McGregor, and it will do it in your style and without the license.
Actually, not even so much the style as for text, you can reproduce the exact thing that was written before, and so it can reproduce like a giant block of my code, and that is subject to copyright, regardless of whether it arose from a model or from copy paste out of GitHub.
Okay, so I wish I had my sound effects here. I'm really missing the sound effects, but we've somehow lost the video. Let's have a round of applause. Come on here. Let's keep it real. Were you going to say something?
Well, yeah, I have a question for you, Sean. This is really interesting because I'm not a coder, right? So I have rudimentary coding skills. What you've just been saying has made me think about the writers' strike that's currently going on in America, because AI is a big, big part of that. You know, they want to ensure that AI won't be used to replace writers, particularly on American film and TV. But my big question, and I agree with it, by the way, but I do wonder how original are their pieces of work, because a lot of them will be following a structure. Like, you know, I'm not talking about Joseph Campbell, but I'm even talking about like just tropes and structures. Certain TV shows have a certain structure, and I'm just wondering, how does that fit with coding? So you sort of say, like, you know, because in my mind, coding is something really logical, but I also know it's not. I know I know it is a highly creative act. So I just love to know your thought on that, actually.
Yeah, it's like how many truly new stories are there, and you know, they accidentally remade Hamlet and Lion King without actually realizing it until quite late in the production of it. But the same is definitely true in the code space, just as in the creative space.
Is there like just a small number of archetypal coding structures?
Yeah, and this is actually a big part of what one of the lawsuits over the recreation of the Java API was, where you had a company that hired a lot of people out of some prior companies, and they recreated a whole lot of stuff that they had done before, and they plucked out some lines from the recreated version of the code and said, like, this is exactly as it is in our controlled software. And the judge actually learned code.
Come and have a seat on the table of chat. This is Tolhuistuin Pop-Up Talk Show. You're very welcome. We have got, we've got Sam, we've got Sean, we've got Jan. Come and join in if you want to.
Only English.
Oh, okay. All right, well, yeah, you can come sit anyway. It's up to you. But go, Sean, carry on.
So the judge learned the code in the course of the conduct of the trial. It's like, this is the way this needs to be written. This is that expression of the code, and it's only in the kind of higher level compositions of things that you start getting into something that's really novel, and just in the same way of like a line is not should not be copyrightable. It's like the composition of lines that you start arriving at.
Okay, so there's a sort of almost like a fundamental level that's not copyrightable, and then it's only, so go on.
I think it's kind of like we straight back into the big question on like that we're already talking about on Monday, and again I'm talking too much, but like it's the question of like the logic under which we see those things. Like I 100% think the same, that artists shouldn't be a protected category as long as coders are to a certain extent, right? Or like there's all these different means of creative output, but like it all boils down to this stuff is gonna be bad for people as long as it follows a product logic of capitalism, right? It's the same logic that would see like the benefit of art being profit or money making, as like in that sense it can be made more, not necessarily better or more efficient, but like using AI to do it, it's easier to extract value from it under like a capitalist kind of like product logic. So I think that's where the overlaps are as well.
I mean, how much, there's a sort of human benefit and then there's a capital benefit. And how much are we kind of protecting the capital benefit as opposed to the human benefit of these kind of AI model, or just the kind of the way influence and the way ideas move on and develop. Anyway, Jan, have you got any thoughts about this?
Yeah. Maybe with you could create a sort of system that that looks at the sources of the model's output, and then distribute the profits to the original authors or something. Then you should have strong regulation. I'm not sure. It's probably possible, easily possible technically. I think they're working on this explainability and traceability of all this decision making of the networks, of these models. But maybe you just should let it go. It's another alternative, and just say like, okay, did you prove this is made by a human? You can say I'm a human. Okay, you want to buy from a human or from a computer? And what is art if it's from that same algorithm? And just the artists should maybe differentiate themselves more from what was the easy way, maybe what the computer can do the easy way now, or they have to be more original. I don't know, but okay, it's of course it's a problem, and these jobs of these copywriters. Of course, it's disruptive. It's crazy. But
I mean, there's three different ways we could go here. We could talk about this thing that you mentioned, which is about like, shall we just forget it all, just let it go, as you said?
Yeah.
Do we trace it back to the sort of, to the original, or this thing about, what were you going to say?
There's an interesting thought there about. Whenever these things sort of come up, we often wonder, like, is one thing going to be replaced? So are humans going to be replaced by AI? And the reality is we'll just find new ways for them to coexist, right? Like again, I'm thinking about the film model. I don't know why it's in my brain this morning, but like when streaming came on and lots of films go straight to streaming and people say it's going to be the death of cinemas, and it's not. Like, films being released into cinema. And so I was just thinking about that, like, I wonder if, it's almost like if you buy a piece of art or a program that's been written by a program, it's almost like you're buying something like, I don't know, you've gone to a supermarket and this is the difference between buying eggs that were from caged hens and eggs that are from like free range, organic, natural hens.
Exactly.
So you pay a premium on that because it's better, animals that have been reared in the wild versus an animal meat that has been grown in a lab. I don't know, it's going to be, because it's capitalism, right? There'll be ways for both to coexist. Right?
But I mean, is it going to be like that kind of luxury project, luxury product, like the kind of the man-made codes? It's like, or I'm using this code that's been hand-reared using organic coders that only eat vegetarian food. I mean, how is it going to play out? I mean,
Well, I think with code, I'm not sure if you need to be so vain to protect that on all levels. But maybe some coders but they're probably vain at the quality of the code they make and the speed of they make it. But if the computer can beat that, I mean, then you're just obsolete.
And what about other cultural products? Like film, like writing. You were talking about writing a story. I mean, it sounds like you need a bit of help from AI to actually get the thing written.
Well, I do take help, but like Sean said, like I do my fair bit of coding, and I have ChatGPT on the side to kind of like, well, what's the formula called? And then it gives me an example, and I'm like, well, okay, this will never work in my code, but now that I know what the formula is called, I can look it up and look at how people have actually implemented it and stuff. So it's useful. But I think like a lot of this is like, we're kind of like partially in our discussions assuming that sort of the things that we place value on right now are going to remain the same, and those values are going to remain the same. But like, it's all part of, it's still like we're still living in sort of like a historical time of development, right? Like all that stuff is going to get reconfigured. The same way that like, I always love to talk about that paper by, I'm going to put on my best German, Friedrich Kittler, in the 1980s, that's called "There is no such thing as software," right? Because software that already back then was being used to code is such a high abstraction from the base silicon. It's not, right? It's all matter at the bottom, but it's so highly abstracted that it's false to think about you doing the coding on any sort of material level. It's so highly abstracted away. And I think what we're going to call coding, what we're going to call art, is going to reconfigure through, you know,
Yeah.
abstracting
So,
from it further.
yeah.
So, and then it's going to be like it always was, the composing and playing with the elements and forms that make up the things that we value. So that it's just going to reconfigure.
So I think it's going to be even more conceptual in the way that it's just going to be the concept of the code, and the actual how you lay it down is kind of going to be just done by machines anyway. So yeah, I mean, there's another point there about how our values actually change when technology changes. Maybe it'd be interesting for people to kind of project what the values of the future are going to be, bearing this in mind, bearing the mind that if you can imagine it, the computer will realise it, whatever it is. How will that change our values? Kind of a pause of thinking pause here.
I think the biggest thing in the short or longer run, we got a preview of that during the pandemic, I think it's going to be hopefully, knock on plastic, a disappearance of the nation states effectively.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the biggest thing because the technology short circuits everything on Earth way too efficiently. So like you're going to have more of kind of like an interdependence of local and global things rather than local and national. I think that's kind of my prediction. So I think that'll have drastic effects on how, you know, economies are managed, where the value is placed in terms of investment, and hopefully that's kind of the route that it's going to go down, you know, where it's like, okay, it's obvious we don't need to preserve the Hamburg or Frankfurt elite in Germany, for example, but what we need is like, well, a strong, robust and safe and secure populace distributed around this area, that area, that area, you know, so kind of like a shift to a more egalitarian model, I hope.
Okay, I mean, do people agree with Jesse about this? You're kind of nodding?
Yeah, it sounds like a great future, and then it makes sense because probably we search for the most. I hope it sort of eventually converges to something that's best for the whole group. Hopefully, because it's more efficient for the individuals in the group as well, or it's more profitable. I hope. So the idea of peace and stuff even.
I mean, will it be more peaceful? Will these nation states just go, okay, our time is over. Good, but we're bowing out. We're, no more UK, no more Germany, no more Netherlands. These guys just gonna disappear off of the map.
Yeah.
What do people?
I don't know. I mean, I worry about like with the Industrial Revolution and how everybody thought it was going to create more socialist societies, which where technology would free up human time so that we wouldn't be so our lives wouldn't be so based around work and farming and I think that the idea of, like, say, going back to AI and so on, lovely idea that it would in theory free us up.
Yes, come over for 2 minutes. We're joining us at a really crucial moment because we're sort of like, we've lost the sound text, Pat. Someone's stolen it because they got annoyed with it. But anyway, it's a drop the mic moment because we're talking about AI, and there's this point that maybe our values will change. Maybe the world in the future, we won't be worrying about who owns what, but we'll be worrying about other stuff. And what will that be? And then Jesse said, well, maybe we won't have nations anymore because it's more efficient to have one big. In a way, it's more capitalist to have one big, global economy. But what will that actually mean? And then your point, Sam. What's your point again?
I was thinking about the first industrial revolution and how people thought or hoped that it would bring about a bit more of a socialist ideal
and more leisure,
more leisure time,
just to
because
chill.
technology would take work off our hands, and I think a lot of people felt the same way about the internet revolution and now with AI. But I think the reality of it is, because we do live in a capitalist society and people want to hang on to power and they want to hang on to it, we'll end up just having to be more and more productive. That spare time will just we will be forced to create and work and do on different things. I'm an idealist, but I'm also a realist.
Why is it that this has happened? This is just a question that's out. Why is it that we've got all these labour-saving devices, but we I don't know. Me personally, I seem to be working quite a lot of the time. How has that happened? And will we actually, will it be some kind of, well, obviously it won't be some kind of utopia, but will the kind of nice bits of what Jess is talking about actually, and you as well, Jan, the kind of peace dividend and the kind of, the progress actually happens.
I would say that if we wanted to live as well as people lived 4 centuries ago, we could probably work 1 day a week now and do pretty well. Like we want to do more, be more places. I want to fly to Amsterdam for this conference and be here, which is probably a lifetime of effort for people a century ago to make this happen. And we'll stop working when we want less. Or the same.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I did come and have a seat around the table chat. You don't have to. But this is Tokyoki. What's the future going to be like? That's what we're talking about at the moment. Will our values change? Will we be working less or even more? That's what we're talking about. We have got, we've got Sam, we have got Leo, we've got Jan. We've got Leo, we've got Jan, and we have got Sean. And we haven't got these people.
How do you imagine a post-labor society with less work, where we actually going to need to move every coastal city 1 kilometer inland, fight with all the climate disasters that are going to happen?
I thought you meant with more people
we're
on the
gonna
beach.
But we're gonna have to work more.
Yeah.
I think, rather than less.
But do we actually even want to work less? Because what Sean is saying is that actually, he didn't have to come to Amsterdam, but he wanted to come and just chat to people about the future of humanity. He didn't have to do that. So do we even really want to do less? You say no.
No, I think we like to work more generally, but just in a nice way, and not like forced labor or something.
I mean, if you go to less times where people had a lot less in the world, if there was a person in your tribe that was not working engaged in improving the lot of the community, that was really bad.
Well, they vilified the lazy people.
Well, I mean, either that or the tribe would die. Like, if you didn't have people that were all contributing and you had a bunch of people that were playabouts and just eating the food that was being produced, you were going to be in a bad state. And so I think we've built into ourselves this drive to do things and to advance. And I happen to quite like that. Humanity is that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So maybe not working less, maybe even working more, and pushing ourselves even more.
I suppose it's about working on things that are more meaningful. Yeah. So I can spend my time working on something that I feel is worthwhile, that is helpful, rather than working as a delivery driver because I have bills to pay. There's a difference, isn't there? I think.
I think that's what I was thinking as well. Like working. Yeah, sure. On whose terms? Like if that is something that hopefully changes.
So we'll be sort of working on so there'll be more meaningful production out there. But what will that meaningfulness actually be? Do people feel they're doing meaningful work right now? Yeah.
I'm an artist.
Are you an artist? Is it meaningful?
To me and to my community, it is, and I think, what you're talking about, the lazy people in the tribes are the reason we have philosophy now. People that are active and just thinkers, slow producer or cultural makers. It's people that don't get their hands dirty, well, not necessarily.
But maybe you didn't mean that with lazy, because in some cultures like the shamans were highly respected, or the tourists, so. It's just about how people perceive it.
Are you off? Yes, so give us a final thought.
Add something just now.
All right, let me just rewind. We're talking about the future values. We're talking about working more because it's more meaningful. We're talking about what is that meaning. All of these things. Does that help you?
I think it'd be nice to think that things can change just on a general fact, and because we're all so occupied with the present, that's sometimes hard to lose, to not lose track of, kind of. But things can change and have, and like growing up in the 90s, it's felt like it's been this way forever. Well, it hasn't, So like the grind and the fear and the kicking out at those lower than you, or perceived lower than you. It doesn't have to be that way, and it hasn't always been that way. So
okay,
that's my idealist, realist. I get that, but also, yeah, I want to have the privilege to have some ideals, you know, and that's hard enough as it is, kind of.
Okay, so maybe less fear, less judgment, more ideals. Sam?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I worry though about those who don't have access to these sort of things. Like, we are privileged that we can have these discussions, and my worry is that the class divide, the poverty line, the divide is getting bigger. So it could be potentially really great for us who have the privilege to sit around and come to Amsterdam and have these conversations. But those people who can't, those people who have to do the jobs, who are working for someone else rather than for themselves, their lives aren't going to improve. I don't think so. I mean, from the work that I'm doing, and what I'm seeing is that divide getting bigger and bigger. So I don't know. Maybe that's why we're here. Maybe our job is to make sure that gap is lessened. But we need to actively be aware of that, because otherwise I think it will just get, we will sit around and have nice conversations, but actually the divide will change.
Our bubble will float away from the other people. Okay, we've got a new face over here. Come and have a seat. We have got Sean, we have got Jan, we've got Leo, although some people might be going, this is a pop-up talk show, this is Tokyo, you're very welcome to come and join, and when we need you in a way. Leo, before you go, I want to get a final thought from you.
Around labor? Or
anything, it's up to you, it's your show.
No, I don't have any final thought yet. I will come back for the final thought.
What are you thinking right now?
What am I thinking right now? Precariousness. I'm thinking of precariousness, how we're going to have much more precariousness in the future.
We're going to be more precarious, not less precarious.
Yes, but that will not be a negative thing.
So
we'll be more flexible, we'll be more adaptable.
Okay, so we'll be used to kind of going with the flow, sort of.
Going with the flow, yes. More fluid.
Okay, we'll be more fluid. Okay, so we're talking about the future at the moment. Tell us your name.
My name is Lily.
Lily, we have Sean, we have Jan and Mikey. We were just talking about visions of the future. It started from the conversation about AI, then we started talking about how will actually technology change our values. And we talked a lot about the kind of progress, and maybe we won't have nation states anymore. But we will come and join in, yes.
I can't join in, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Your colleague just needs to know they're getting some batteries for you.
Yeah.
I just need to know what your room number is.
Oh, 624.
Yeah. Now you'll know.
Now everybody, ladies.
Okay. 624, that's where the party is tonight. Anyway, so we're talking about the future, we're talking about the future values. Leo said we'd be more precarious. Sam said, those people that can do the fancy jobs will be fine because we'll be in our bubble. But we've got to think about everyone else, people that work for other people. Are they going to get more exploited? That's really where we are so far. I don't know what people think. Have you got a view right now, Lily, or do you want to listen in a bit more?
Maybe I'll listen a bit more.
Yeah. Okay.
I think what's his name, Jesse or Jella, he ended or was it the other guy? They ended with the divides in society, with having access and or being not having the free time to elaborate on improving things for the whole for the group. But then you also have this geographically, of course. We still have this.
We still got. You mean when you say geographically, what do you mean?
Well, there's this order and then we are here in these rich countries here. We have these luxury positions, but our stuff is produced. I mean, this microphone is produced somewhere else for somebody who has. He can't leave the factory for 14 hours, otherwise he's being hit with a stick, in some kind. I mean, it's in the clothing industry. I'm not sure about the microphone.
I mean, this microphone's made in the USA. Actually, they moved production out of the USA, I think, to Far Eastern countries. So maybe working conditions have changed for microphone manufacture.
Yeah.
This is an old one that's made in the US.
Okay.
But I mean, doesn't mean I don't know. That means that anyway. But I see what I'm picking up what you're saying. Really, is that all of this stuff. I will also say this Tokyo table made in Hungary, and the guy that makes them gets paid very well.
You know where a lot of your things are made. I think that's very impressive.
I think people just forget where things are made. I'm always checking where things are made. Do you check where your stuff's made?
I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do need to make decisions based on where they're made.
Yeah. I mean, do you actually? I mean, what countries would you avoid?
It depends on the product, so it's hard to tell. Like if I were to choose a leather goods, and I like something that durable and lasts, then I would choose things that made in
Right.
So,
Okay.
so it just really depends on the category.
Yeah.
You choose it.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, sometimes it's hard to find things that are made in certain countries. I mean, what country is everyone from here, actually? I'm from the UK. Where are you from?
I was born in Vietnam, but I'm coming from California.
Right,
the US.
okay.
Yeah.
And is it easy to find things made in Vietnam or made in California?
Definitely in Vietnam.
Yeah, okay, so there's more stuff getting made in Vietnam. Where are you from?
I'm from here. Yeah.
I mean, what, does stuff get made here?
Here, not a lot of stuff gets produced anymore. It's a very interesting question. We're just here in big glass buildings telling other people in other countries what to build. I guess because I have no idea where our money comes from.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. So
food. We produce a lot of food, but that's just 3% of our national income or something.
Yeah.
It's we are second world's second food supplier in this small country in absolute numbers. As I heard a few times. So it must be business stuff like it's just owning stuff and governing stuff somewhere else. I assume. I know.
Yeah. You don't. I mean, in a way, we don't really know. It's got very. I mean, we're talking about this kind of global economy, and what a great idea it was because there would be more interchange, more interaction, more peace. But does it also lead to this thing we don't really understand it because it's so huge?
Like for me, I like beer that made in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
I don't drink beer, but when I buy for my friends, I would like to buy the ones that made here. I love Jock, which is Dutch brand.
I know the founder actually.
Yeah, like, I'm proud.
What's it called? Jock?
Love Jock.
Love
Like a chocolate, but like raw organic, right? Raw chocolate made in the Netherlands. And when I buy them for Dutch friends, like I'm proud of this, right? And right now I live in Zutphen, and they have a production of I think natural shampoo, personal care products. I feel so proud. It's like premium price, but it's like, I mean, it's local. Okay. So little small decisions like that, I think really helps.
Sean, do you think about where stuff comes from, where it's made? Do you buy local products?
Whenever possible, particularly because they're often better. And I did enjoy going to the grocer here yesterday evening, and it's a much smaller grocery store than in the United States, but I felt like nothing was missing, and it was all higher quality and fair off and lower price. So that was all very confusing to me, but in a good way.
Okay, so I mean so there are national differences. We're not quite in this homogenous kind of global kind of space yet. I mean, do you want?
Maybe that's the big question indeed.
Yeah.
Do we need those classes in society? If it's natural, but it's probably. And I mean, if my wage is 3 times lower in some other country, it doesn't mean that I can't buy. Or have to buy can't buy 3 times less food, or I have to buy 3 times. How do you say this in English? So because the food is also cheaper there, probably. But of course they are way poorer. Probably it's not good. And it's going to disappear because of the internet, probably. And I hope.
I mean, how this conversation all started because we were visualizing the future really, and what is it going to be like, and. So far, we decided that we're going to be working more precarious or more fluid, but more global. I mean, Lily, have you got any thoughts about what you would like the future to be, or what you think the future will hold?
I don't know for myself yet, but I don't like the notion of working more because I come from the culture where we work to death. Right? And that's why I came here for the best work-life balance. So I really don't want to envision that future where we work more. And where I'm sitting right now is a place of I'm concerned. I have seen like the change in labor in industry, right? In Vietnam, for example, in India, where Western companies come there and open sweatshops or manufacturing plants. And to a lot of us, like Vietnamese, for example, being able to work in a manufacturing plant at some point was prestigious for many people.
Yeah.
Is pride, right? And in India, like I had colleagues, they told stories of like getting in line for days to get an interview to work in a call center. Right? And then all of a sudden, all the call centers get shifted to Philippines. And then now India has faced with a huge problem with like over-produced engineers that are going to be replaced. They're going to be replaced.
Right.
So in terms of like, AI, in terms of developing of technology and the shifting of labor allocation, I'm concerned that those people are going to be totally displaced.
That's of course the first thing that will happen, but of course it will react, and we had this earlier in this conversation also, but probably people will gonna do something else. So you found a way to solve something in another way, much easier, and then you just spend your time creating new ideas, implementing new ideas, or implementing old ideas that you couldn't implement back then. And, people just start doing stuff, I think.
I mean, is that the case with call center operatives in India? Will they find new things to do? Will they just kind of use their imagination and come up with something different? Is that just how it works?
I don't know yet, because I think it has to be the solutions has to come from different angles. Because as an individual, putting all the resources to go to the school and train up for something that you no longer need it, and where's the money come from to study something else? And then as a government, what are you going to do to support your workforce?
Socialism is the answer.
Socialism. It's more so. We're here at MozFest. It's turning into a socialist. We were talking about socialism yesterday as well. Come and join if you want to. Are you a socialist? Is that a yes or a no? Or I'm going to avoid the question. Okay. That's. Sean, you haven't said anything for a while.
Well, just as an American, all this talk of socialism is deeply uncomfortable to me.
No, a little bit of it. I mean, to at least get you a training, maybe paid by your next employer. Then, okay, good. That's maybe not socialism, at least, but at least. We can help each other also overcome these gaps of finance. If you lose your job and you're trained in that thing, and then suddenly you have to train yourself on something new, on a new job, which is then you just need some time and food, and then somebody can give you that, even in capitalist systems, I think.
Okay, so you think there's not necessarily a kind of you can have socialist capitalism in a way.
Indeed. Socialism is maybe not needed. It's just that you have to just take care of each other a little bit, I think. I have very liberal friends who say, you don't need that. You just need charity. You don't need socialism. You just need rich people to care about it. But that's of course in practice not working all the time. I assume that. But of course, as long as it works, it works. It doesn't matter if the system, how the system is. But that's just a human thing, right? If people are not friendly to each other, then it doesn't work.
I mean, people might be friendly, but does the system need to be friendly as well?
Yeah.
Can you have a friendly system?
That's, I don't know, like when I came here, I was very surprised to know that many Dutch friends, for example, when they were between jobs, they could stay in between jobs for a long time, and the government continued to support them, right? As long as they went to like networking events and showed effort in looking for jobs. But
do you think that's a good thing?
I don't know yet, but I saw many of the contacts that I had, they stayed in that between spaces for a long time. There were pros and cons, of course. But in America, we can't do that. We cannot. And so I don't know how to. I have curiosity, I'm concerned, but Honestly, I don't know how we will address it at the system. The system
Give us an opinion. I mean, we've not got many people around the table. Maybe we can get an opinion from this person over here. Come and join in. We're talking about should. I know you're doing FaceTime or something. I can't see him over there, but
The Bay Area. The Bay Area, yes.
what do you think of? Come and join us. 2 minutes, yes. Oh, you've got to catch the train. Okay. What do you think about this thing? Should we support people that are unemployed? Should the government kind of help them out while they're between jobs? Give them time to retrain, network, get a nice job.
So, bring it back to the AI space and impacts on things in general. To make a provocative statement, I would say climate change is not a problem, but rapid climate change is, because the climate can change through time. It has throughout geologic history, but the problem is we've moved the economic history from geologic timescales to technological timescales.
So it's about the rapidity of change, basically. That we're just changing too fast, too quickly, be it climate-wise or economic-wise. The economy is just morphing so fast, and AI is pushing that. I mean, one of the things we heard about AI on Monday, I think, is that everything happens too fast. So, talking about earlier on, we're talking about imagery. It takes an illustrator a week to produce an image. It takes the diffusion model a couple of seconds. So, is AI overheating our economy in a way? And is our economy just kind of almost going to crack from changing too fast? You say no. Yeah.
No. I believe in it, in people being very adaptive. So, well, it does. We'll overcome. We need some probably some governmental.
Hello.
The lights on.
Lights on. Hello. Okay, so we've got two Californians. Have you got the other end of this? We got one.
They're the bad guys. They caused it all.
Let's just meet in California next time. You live here now, though, right? Okay.
Your heart's in California. Why?
I mean, it's a place of innovation.
I don't know what happened suddenly. Oh, I know what's going on. There we go. All right. It's a place. Why is it a place of innovation? Is it because? Oh yeah. Why? I have no idea actually. Why is California a place of innovation?
So the history of California.
Yeah.
Is this coming through?
Yes.
Okay. The history of California is in its founding from being basically the gold rush state, and the U.S. has been always just kind of going after the next fortune, going after the next big thing, and whether it's the entertainment industry, tech industry,
or just gold,
originally, it's a drive towards reinvention of sorts, and there's a lot more to go into in that, and the kind of present issues that the state faces and all that. But that's how we ended up with so many industries.
Okay, so started off with the gold rush, and then people came to make money, and they're still making money, but not necessarily out of gold, but out of other stuff. I mean, what will people be making money out of in the future in California? What's going to be the future? Is it going to be AI? Or is that going to be is that the shovel or the?
So one interesting problem California is faced with at the moment is it had so many high-paid tech workers that inflated all the housing stock and a number of other things, but a sudden change to remote work has made it so that there isn't as much of a premium placed on being in the Bay Area and being able to work there, and so there's kind of a exodus of people to around the U.S. and working from places where you're going from a one-room apartment to a mansion in some other place.
Okay, well that's interesting. Okay, we've got a new face at the table. What's your name?
I'm Luna.
Lula.
Yes.
Lula, we've got Lily, we've got Sean, we've got Jan, I'm Mikey. At the moment, well, we're talking about a vision of the future. Then we started talking about socialism as it appears in the Netherlands. But these two, Lily and Sean, are from California, where it's not about socialism, it's about making money, and it's coming up with new ways of making money. We're finding out there's always like a new gold rush in California, be it tech, be it come and join us. Yes. We have got Lily, we've got Sean, we've got Jan, we've got Lula. I'm Mikey. What's your name?
Max.
Max, welcome. So I mean, the whole point of Talkioki is kind of up to you where you want to take the conversation. We started off talking about AI and how this kind of change in technology will actually change our values, but will it change it to a more kind of capitalistic, let's make some money, or what Jan is kind of saying, we're going to be more socialist and we're going to look after each other. And so we've got the view from California, we've got the view from the Netherlands, not representing the whole of the Netherlands or California, although we've got two,
I didn't say that, right?
Yeah.
It's just one option. I mean, it helped. It's easy to do it if your state is already organized in a fair, social way.
So so the Netherlands already started off with the socialist model, so it's easier to carry on being a little bit socialist. In the Netherlands, if you lose your job, the government will actually pay you until you find another job.
As long as you need.
Yeah, as long as you want. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. I wanted to ask a question about that. So, in your view, if you think it can make for a more social state, what does it take to do that? Like a world in which you say, okay, new technologies make us more social overall. Like, what needs to happen to make that?
Yeah.
Is that the default?
No, but that's not exactly what I was saying. It's just that the disruption of new technology. You could adapt to using socialism because you, for example, if people lose their jobs quickly, like whole groups of professions are obsolete suddenly, then you could at least have a program for them.
I mean, the discussion, actually, come and join us. Yes, come along. This is a crucial discussion. We were talking about the call centre workers in Bangalore. Actually, suddenly all that work is now moved to the Philippines, and those people need to do something else. And Jan was saying if they were in Netherlands, they would get retrained, they would get paid, they would be supported. But maybe it doesn't work like that in India, and that's how we came onto this discussion. Sean, it looks like you're about to leave because you are standing up. Give us a final thought.
Very much looking forward to lunch and eating some of the local foods.
Is there such a thing as a free lunch?
No.
No.
Yes. Both. But no. Economically speaking, I would say no.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Economically, there's no such thing as a free lunch, okay? But we're getting a free lunch. Maybe there's some kind of economic transaction happening. Lula, looks like you're going as well. Give us an initial thought. Any thoughts on any of this?
I would say there is such a thing as a free lunch.
Yeah.
I would say that nature is often bountiful.
Yeah.
And not the type of lunch that most of us in our society today are accustomed to, but I do think there is such a thing as a free lunch.
What would be on the menu of a natural free lunch?
Probably like roots and berries and such.
Yeah.
Maybe you could find some nuts.
Okay, find some nuts. That's right. We can move on to talking about nuts. There is such a thing. Nature offers us a free lunch. That's a good point. Where we go from here, I'm not sure. Max, you wanted to say something?
I think that's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
But I also think that you're probably not going to find 7 billion times 2,500 kilocalories a day from roots and nuts. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think we know how to do that.
Yeah. Okay, so nature can't offer that many free lunches, maybe a few peripheral free lunches. So there is such a thing as a free lunch, but not enough free lunches out there to provide for all of us.
I think it's about changing perception on the quality of food and the type of food. Because like when I grew up or in my country, we ate different things, right? Smaller kind of like birds, or not like concentrated like chicken in farms. We didn't rely heavily on beef, for example. And in the countryside, the way I learned it, I didn't grow up in the countryside. They ate like the big type of crickets. There's this special type of crickets. It's really big. It's as big as a grasshopper. And they ate rice field mice, I think. Right. So the things that to Westerners, it's just like, what are you doing, right? And for many years that what they did. And so nowadays people would eat a lot of beef, a lot of chicken, and so it's shifting to different kind of diet, Western ideology based diet, right? And then there was a project in Kenya a few years ago for like a Dutch company founded here. They figured out a way to grow crickets.
Right.
In boxes, crickets.
Would you eat a cricket? No, you're definitely no. Okay, so.
And they try to go to Kenya to teach people how to do that, so that they can produce higher quality, low cost protein. But the project was really difficult. So it's interesting what we think as like essential like protein and food versus delicacy. Like in New York, you go to like expensive hotel, like restaurant to have crickets as delicacy, like sprinkling on your food. And in Kenya, they were taught to produce it in order to improve the nutrition. Yeah. So I don't know how we're gonna kind of like sync up.
How's this all gonna fit together? And we got a new face at the table. I wish I had my cricket sound effects right now. Any news on the sound effects? What's your name?
My name is Margot. No news on sound effects pad, and I've lost my phone. Nice
lost your
to see
phone?
everyone. Yeah.
But
I think it might be in a hotel.
You must have left it in the hotel.
Anyway, that's hello.
Yeah. Do you want to go back again? And
no.
No?
No.
Yeah, okay. All right, there's no wah, 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 wah sound effect either. We're talking about the future. We're talking, yeah?
I think just going in on the food thing, I'm from Poland, and we've got this delicacy which is just, well, it's lard, so it's a fat from an animal with a bit of, bacon bits in it.
Lard with bacon.
And you put it on top of bread, and you usually eat it whilst drinking. So it's just so strange, like you're having a lot, like a wallop of fat, like such an intake of fat, and vodka, which normally is quite strong, and that's supposed to be like, really good for you, nutritious, like a man food, and I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't like it. I don't like either of these things. Okay. I like bread, but I don't like the other ones.
Okay, man food is like vodka and lards with bacon in it.
It's kind of like if you eat a lot of fat, then that will help you digesting vodka somehow. But the question is like, why do you need to drink this vodka? But apparently you do. I
mean, we were earlier on. We were talking about the future and what the future is going to bring, and maybe in the future we'll be eating more crickets and less beef. But with all this technology, will that change our kind of food production or food consumption?
I'm thinking, I mean, like, we were talking about AI and kind of like feeding you biased data, yada, 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 but also, like, do we want the AI to be right, or do we want it to reflect the valuable nature of humans? And I wonder whether we get to a point where AI, every time you type in, find a burger place near me, will flag that up as dangerous content, because it's,
At what point does AI does AI decide what you should be eating and guide you to the salad bar, not the burger bar?
I don't know. I don't know if I would give anyone that power to select. I mean, I agree that people should eat less beef, right? 100%. And this lard and bacon thing sounds really gross. But I also probably don't want my phone to make the call.
Yeah.
Yeah, some societies existing now will probably implement it tomorrow.
Societies that does.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it's maybe they believe it's better for the whole, maybe, and that's their belief. But if maybe it's even true. Yeah. And so it's what is better? I don't know. But I don't like those societies though.
Yeah, that's like $1 million question, right? Like the voting with your feet thing. Is like, I think that sometimes you can be right if you make a decision like that, and sometimes you can be wrong, and it's just hard to not have the wrong outweigh the right.
Yeah, freedom is important. Freedom is important. So as long as I think this advice, unasked advice from some AI or some whatever policymaker behind the AI, you should be able to turn it off, I guess, or turn it on in the first place.
Yeah, but will people turn it off and on, or will they just be used to it?
No, but this is really like, at what point do we decide what, you know? But I don't think it's necessarily AI telling us because it's got its own brain. It's more like us programming it for it. I remember I was putting something on social media. Actually, it was a subject that came up in our first Tolhuistuin part of MozFest, and it was what would Hitler use the internet for? So as a kind of summary of things that people were discussing, I said, what would Hitler use the thing? And the person who usually does our social media said, like, can you change the spelling of Hitler because it's probably going to get flagged and taken down, or we're going to get some kind of a ban from social media.
For mentioning Hitler?
Yeah, for mentioning Hitler.
Yeah.
If the AI or whoever took time to investigate what the context was, what Tolhuistuin is, what the conversation was, they probably like, yeah, that's fucking fine, no problem. But they won't. So I'm just saying, you know, if you eat meat once a year or every day, it doesn't matter. I mean, why isn't that being flagged? I mean, I'm not a kind of militant vegan fighter, but it just makes me think it's like these double standards, and you know, yeah.
I mean, in a way, it's about our values coming through. Let's have a round of applause for that. It's about our values being reflected in the technology, or not necessarily our values, but the values of someone's values, yeah. And whose values are they? And is there a way to kind of, I mean, go on.
Yeah, there's certainly something to that. I think, like yesterday during the keynote by Frances Haugen, I think she mentioned that, like, measuring some things. If we decide a thing is important and we measure it, that's great. So if you say, okay, if you go to this restaurant, this is the impact it has on you, on the world, that is an informed decision rather than currently just a decision that's informed by some reptile part of your brain that wants fat. And that can be better.
Do reptiles eat a lot of fat? Come and join us. We're talking about reptiles. Are you a reptile? Reptilian? No. He's going for food. The reptile part of his brain is taking him to the food thing. So I don't know, you know, is it better to have an informed decision or just rely on a reptile part of our brain?
I mean, having informed decision all of the time would be quite tiring,
Tedious,
I would imagine. But at the same time, if we kind of agree or vote for a government that's whose values are more or less reflect our own values, then it's just kind of a bit of a trade, really, I suppose. There'll be some things, you know.
Are we kind of outsourcing our kind of ethical decision making to the government or to the phone in a way? You
yes.
know? Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, and will we be using AI more to kind of like say, these are my values, tell me what decisions I'm going to make in the future based on my values so that it's consistent and not lizard-like?
Yeah, I think that's cool. You can have have like the AI angel and devil on your shoulders.
Yeah. And you can, so you would have a double AI, one sort of telling you to do the fun stuff and one telling you to do the right stuff.
Sometimes I really need someone to tell me to do the fun stuff.
Yeah, okay, so a devil and others, I think that's quite a good, I think you've got a good app idea there, definitely, yeah.
I think Amsterdam is such a brilliant place for like letting go. I think, I mean, I'm not here on a stag do, but I hear it's a very popular place for stag do's and that kind of stuff. People just come in here and maybe they've got stressful jobs or stressful lives, so maybe not, but they want to relax even more, so they come here, they let loose, and they don't care. And maybe it's okay to go through patches like that in our lives where you're like completely just being very ethical, very aware, kind of, you know, make informed choices, and then maybe every other year you go like, fuck it all. I don't know. Maybe somebody should like just sum it up and just see what's, you know, if it's a good approach or not. Maybe it's too damaging, I don't know. But
I think what I'm hearing is the assumption that people can make good decisions. Like if a child with, I mean, limited capacity to understand, and you give the child a lot of freedom and say, make good decision, and what are we going to get? So that's I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Are we all a bit like children?
Do we have anything that can make better decisions? Because if not, then
The parents.
Yeah.
maybe. Okay.
Okay.
At some point that stops being true, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a new face to the table. We've got Jan, we've got Max, we've got Lily, we've got Margot. What's your name?
Bhuvna.
Bhuvna.
Yeah, I'm from India.
From India, and we were talking about India earlier on. Is it true that the call centre workers are actually now losing their jobs to call centres further east in the Philippines? Is that true? You say no. You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But anyway, right now we're talking about this kind of like AI making decisions for us, or somebody else kind of delegating decision making to other people, so we don't have to think about it all the time. What is the ethical decision, or what is the fun decision? Max has come up with a kind of, a potential, what's the word, killer app, as they used to say back in the day, of a kind of double decision-making AI, one telling you to do the right thing, one telling you to do the fun thing, and you can take advice from either. But should we be delegating our decision-making to other people or other devices, or should we be thinking a bit more hard about what is right and what is wrong? That's what we're talking about at the moment. I don't know if you've got anything to kick off with, or just going to hang on in there for a minute. Pick up the conversation. Yes.
It takes a while.
It takes a while just to get into the flow, for sure.
I've been to the eye museum, so it's like trying to understand about filmmaking and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm still there processing in there. So it's going to take me a little while, but I think like lots of things with the AI that can also go into the films and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've touched on that a little bit as well. Yeah. But I mean, I guess at the moment we're talking about not necessarily aesthetic decisions, but ethical decisions. Can we come and join? Can we trust AI to make out the right decision for us, because we don't know? Yes, come and join. 2 minutes. Everyone seems to be in a rush to get lunch. Their lizard brains are sending them to.
I'm looking forward to a film that's going to come out by a Polish director who's got Hollywood ambitions. I don't know, maybe he should go to California just to kind of like properly get into that world. But he's making a film about Putin, which is going to be like a feature film using deep fakes. And I saw a trailer. It looks mad. And even if it's a shit film, which knowing this director will be a little bit on the kitsch side, I'm gonna go and watch it, because there's no deep fake films coming out right now that I'm aware of, apart from this one. So I'm really excited.
Okay, so deep fake films, maybe the future, or maybe it's a kind of projection of an imagination. Will we kind of be changing our attitude to these kind of films in the future, where it will be kind of acceptable just to have, it's a journey of the imagination, I suppose. What do other people think about deep fake films? No?
I mean, would you like a deep fake film about yourself? Yeah, maybe it's fun. I don't know. But the people will go away home with another you. That's not you.
Okay, I mean, maybe at this point we need Vladimir Putin on the table to see how he feels about this film, the deep fake film.
No, he's not there.
Oh no, okay, sorry. Come on. Would you like to have a deep fake film made about you? That's what we're talking about at the moment. Max,
that's my cue to leave.
Yeah. Is that yes or a no?
Well, it depends.
Yeah, it depends on what you're doing in the deep fake film.
What am I doing in this deep fake film?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think if I were Putin I would like that film. Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just, I'm just thinking about it because there's one scene in the trailer where Putin is just having a bit of a kind of existential moment. I don't know what's kind of leading up to it, because in my view, he's just like an evil man. But in that one snippet that we see him looking quite like himself, just crawled up just kind of like this on the bathroom floor, which is something that you'd see like kind of troubled, romantic kind of protagonist. And now it's fucking with my brain. I don't quite know what it's doing.
I mean, earlier on, before you arrived, we were talking about how Max. I don't think that was a satisfactory final thought. Give us a final thought, not about deepfake, but about AI and our values changing and all this stuff we've been talking about.
So I'm sure Putin sometimes sits on the floor of his bathroom, wondering what's going on. Everybody does that, for sure. He may not want us to know, but he. He's got to look in the mirror sometimes and wonder where the time went. All those things.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's not. Maybe some. Oh, Lily, you
I need to go to.
Give us a final thought.
On AI.
Anything. It could be on crickets. It could be on the Californian economy. Anything.
I think deepfake film is okay as long as it's labeled properly. Like this is deepfake and it's not real.
Okay, so you need to know that is how it's been produced. So it's more about how it's contextualized.
Yeah,
for a good point.
Because we're talking about classes in society. See, from India, we should. I said maybe it has some benefits. So, so it has a lot of downsides, especially for the lower costs, right? As a whole, it might benefit output of a country. That's very. I don't think it's a good idea in the first place because I think things should be flexible, in 100% flexible.
So we had a session where we were talking about the AI transparency, and we were talking about the finance sectors, how they've been connected and stuff. But the whole lot of thing is where the marginalized groups where they're still not connected to the digital world itself. There's like half bunch of the crowd which is left out with no banking systems or with or even let's say in terms of the bias that exists in the class and the society. And I'm more like working in the gender gap research, so it's more like prevalent in how I work on more understanding women groups and connecting them, bridging gender gap in technology. So it's more of like how women, women who are in unorganized sectors, women who are participating in, something that's away from the technology, or like trying to get the digital literacy by itself. It's the first thing that we're working at, and AI is very, very far about for us to think at the moment, and where AI, the policies and how the governance work, they're still not standardized protocols for these, because it's still understanding what they are. Although India has banned like cryptocurrency and stuff, so we're still like working on the AI governance, and it's pretty much to the nascent stage. But then there are applications, there are development in government thing called the Digital India movement that's working on. So there's a lot of things to fix, and a lot of things to explore. Again, in India, it's more of like you can see the cities, the metros, and the bigger places, which is like very much connected with the strong internet, and we have the 5G evolving as well. But you see in the other side, the more rural or like disconnected areas.
There's more of a divide between the people, the urban kind of elite, and the people, the rural people, than there is between, say, those Indians that are part of a kind of global network, and other parts of the world. So it's more within the country. There's a much bigger divide.
That's more of that. And so the developed part of the country more focuses on the globalization and understanding of like how the internet and things revolve. But then we're more working on in the grassroots. We're working more on the on fixing how privacy, or like how even taking a small smartphone to the people, right? So all that works, and how this can also align with their day jobs, like if they're doing something with regard to agriculture, then how the government apps, or like how assistance for agriculture could happen with the internet. So this is something that we're working on, and I have a session today at 3:30 at the Ethical Dilemma Cafe. It's like more about like I would be talking about accessibility in a more grassroots level. Understanding of grassroots in the more global south, in the more grassroots level. So do catch me up there. Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, cool. I feel like that might be a good place to stop, because also I'm getting anxious about your missing phone as well, even if you're not. And give us a final thought before we just break down for a minute.
Well, a final thought. final thought, freedom.
How do we achieve freedom? Is it by, like Margot has done, tossing away your phone? Or is it about embracing technology?
That's the way, toss away your phone, yeah. She's a pioneer, yeah.
Pioneer of freedom, so, freedom! Okay, any final thoughts, Margot?
No, yeah, just toss away your phone. The world is better without. I think. I feel weirdly better, but fuck knows what happened to my phone. Sorry, swearing, but I'm just like a bit surprised that it happened. But
we're going to look for it. We're going to do the Find My Phone app. We're going to find it, see what happens, and we'll be back shortly. This is Tolhuistuin. Back for more thoughts later on. Thanks everyone for joining.
Mel, sorry, I have a full mouth. No, that's okay. You chew away, and then when you're good and ready, you can speak some more. So we've got Elle, Mel, and Mikey. My name is Margot. This is Tolhuistuin. I mean, as you probably know by now, we can go in any direction whatsoever. But the question is, which direction we should go in? Yeah. Any ideas? Any ideas? Okay. Is it about going away? Is it about departures, arrivals? What's it all about? Hello, really nice yellow T-shirt. Very good. Mel, I mean, should we be talking about your sandwich? Should we be talking about something completely else? Just give us something. Anything. Anything at all. Anyone. Before you take another bite, give us something.
I found this sandwich.
Found a sandwich. Is it okay to eat food that you found? Mikey?
Yeah, I mean, my friend Saul once was thirsty in a station. I think it was somewhere in France, and he saw like half a water bottle, a bit like the one by your foot. It's just a water bottle sitting on top of a vending machine, and he's just like, oh, free water. I'll drink that. But I don't think most people would.
Okay. I mean, would you?
It depends how thirsty I was, I suppose. I probably would if I was thirsty. Following Saul's still alive, he's still well and healthy. Yeah.
Formed into another creature. Would you eat food found on the street? That's what we're talking about. Or a bottle of water. Would you drink a bottle of water that you just found at the central station?
Oh, je praat tegen mij?
Yeah. Would you drink a bottle of water that you just found on the street?
Nee.
Why? Why not?
No, because I don't know whose mouth have been there. So.
Oh yeah, no, that's a really good point. Mike's friend actually, come and join us if you wish.
Well,
this is a.
Go to break
okay,
dance.
where are you going? Where are you going? Tell us.
Our children are having breakdance class.
Okay.
Very nice.
Nice. Is it okay to break dance on the street? Yeah, it is. Okay, it's a big yes from you. Okay.
I mean, yesterday I saw, and I think you did as well, the seagulls eating the rolls that were left on the floor. In fact, you actually even opened up the packet for them, so they didn't eat plastic. So seagulls would definitely eat found foods, but maybe they're a bit more gullible.
I mean, is there really so much difference between humans and seagulls? Would you eat a piece of roll found on the street? Person over there.
It's not their role in life.
I mean, is it really? I mean, are we that different from animals, from birds?
From birds? From seagulls? Maybe. I mean, I have found the sandwich. There was a sign that said left over lunch. So I mean, it did come with a sign that helped.
Okay.
And I guess maybe a human would want a sign that says this is okay, and a seagull would just be like, oh, that's food. Yeah. It might not be okay. You know, the sign could be misleading. Like we could be like. Yeah, someone could be messing with me, like, you know, oh, free lunch. Like, I don't know. I'm like, okay.
So there's a suspicion that maybe it could have been just a setup. By the way, would you eat lunch found on the street? Like seagulls, do seagulls eat bread off the street? Would you, if you're hungry, would you eat bread off the street?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, come and join us, tell us about it. Okay, that's completely fine, but it's good to know. But also, it's a very interesting point. Do we, as humans, do we need that kind of confirmation? Do we need a sign before we can actually spontaneously react to something or respond to our urges? Al, I mean, where do you stand on this?
I think everyone is different. And I think it takes a certain amount of tenacity to just take a random sandwich. If you need a sign, I think that's very honourable, because a sign kind of allows you to take that, to take the sandwich. If you just found a random wrapped sandwich and you took it, it could be stealing.
It could be stealing. I mean, how do we know? How do we know that we're depriving somebody else of lunch? Yeah, Mikey?
I mean, we touched on this subject on Monday when we were talking about in the future, will everyone just have a personal rating, a bit like you've got on Uber or on Bolt or on Airbnb or whatever. But somebody correctly pointed out that the bad actors, the bad players, would actually be able, would be the exact people that would actually kind of sidestep that system. So anyone that was faithful to the system would, you know, would have a proper rating, but the bad people would actually be the ones that would fuck with the system anyway. So if the sandwich was poisoned, then it'd be more likely, not less likely, they would have a sign saying "Help yourself."
Okay, so there'll be like I need to turn myself up a bit.
Channel 1.
Channel 1. Oh yeah, that's a bit better. So right. So Mel, anything to add? I mean, would kind of character rating work with birds and kind of wildlife?
Okay, so character ratings. You're talking about like Uber ratings, so like, you know, you have a rating? Cause
yeah, we're kind of merging it, yeah.
Alright, so I don't take many Ubers, but when I go to Australia, which is where my family's from, I end up in Ubers, and I was totally surprised that I had like a very bad rating compared to my friends. And also it was quite like, they were very competitive about making sure that they had like a good rating. It was like quite a thing. And I was just like, I thought I was a polite person, I always say thank you. I mean, I don't go into conversation, but then I don't know, it started some anxiety in me that I was like thinking, do I have to behave differently? Do we need these scores? Like, because it felt a bit like fake then, like people were going a bit over the top to have a good score, and I don't know, this character scoring thing, who gets to, how does the ranking work? I don't know if I like it.
But that's really interesting but have you ever got to the bottom of it? Why was your rating not as good as your friends?
I have a feeling that it might be when I get in an Uber. It's been like a very long day. I'm jet lagged. I probably drank a lot because I haven't seen those people in a while and we're celebrating. And I just like fall asleep in the car. So like, do you reckon if you have if you like fall asleep in the car, does that give you a bad rating? I mean, to me, that's a night. I mean,
so if you show your humanity, your kind of feeble humanity a bit too much, doesn't make it just bad for your overall rating. I mean, I'm going to come to you 1 second, Mikey, but Elle, what do you think about this? I mean, what do you think about this kind of idea of like character rating? Have you ever been rated badly for something?
Oh yeah, my Uber rating is terrible, and I don't know why.
How do you do it? Maybe it's really countercultural.
I think it's because I don't tip, and I don't tip quite often out of pettiness, because I live in the UK and everyone actually gets a living wage there. Like, it's against the law to not pay your employees properly. So I very rarely tip in restaurants, and I don't tip Uber drivers again because they are protected by the same employment laws. Yeah, I'm an asshole, that's cheap, but I'm not as much of an asshole as a seagull I once saw that was eating a pigeon.
Okay, thank you. Do you like seagulls? I mean, what do you think, how much what do you think of seagulls' behavior eating food on the street? Maybe they're stealing from someone. Have you ever eaten food from the street? Give us an answer. That's what we're talking about right now. This is a talkie. You come and grab a seat for 2 seconds, and then you can move on with your lives.
He really has to run. He is running an NGO, working for an NGO Kids Rights, and he does awesome stuff. So if you don't mind, I will give answers, and he can.
Okay, goodbye. We'll let you go, but thank you. 1 in, 1 out. That's fantastic. So welcome. So far, we've got Elle, we've got Mel, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot, and what is your name?
I'm Carolina.
Hey, Carolina. Welcome. Just to bring you up to speed, we have been talking about ratings, personal ratings. Started off with Uber drivers. Is tipping actually necessary if people are living in a kind of minimum wage country like the UK, as we're finding from Elle? Also, have been talking about, is it okay to eat food off the street? Is it a bit icky? What's it all about? So that's kind of where we are at the moment. And would you rate different animals depending on, you know?
I just want to say to Mel that I actually really like it when people fall asleep when I'm driving, because it makes me feel like I'm, you know, responsible for them. They're very comfortable and safe. It's like when we were driving back from Berlin to Amsterdam, you were asleep and I was like, that's nice. And one of my most treasured memories is when I was coming back from a wedding and I was driving a space wagon, and it was like Inception, where everyone was asleep because they were all hungover and tired, and I was the only one awake in this car full of 9 people with 8 people all asleep.
Okay, so you had your kind of moment connected to that.
Yeah.
But I mean, Carolina, what do you think about this idea? I mean, do you ever take Uber? Do you rate your experience? I mean, you got a really bad rating for just falling asleep and being hangover in Ubers, but...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I got a bad rating. Like, I'm still guessing. I mean, I agree with you. I think that, like, it's okay to fall asleep in the back. Yeah. Like, if you've had a big day. Like, you don't know anything about that person, whether, someone's sick or they're jet lagged or, like, work is hectic or something like that, and they just need a safe space to sit and be carried home. So I think it's okay, but then I have a bad rating. So
well, this is it. You wouldn't know because your rating is so terrible. Carolina, what do you think?
So thanks for this question. Actually, I've been doing research on risk profiling.
Oh, okay.
And if you think of a bad rating, it sounds like a bad risk profile to me. And I agree totally with, sorry, your name?
Mel.
With Mel, that you never know what's the background of the person who just wanted to rest and have a safe space to rest. And just to finish up, we had a research with Kids Rights and Design Lab, University of Twente, that's where I'm based. And we raised the question to kids about how would you feel if you would be driven by a self-driving car to hockey lesson, to dance lesson, to sport club, instead of a human being. And all of them, most of them at least, they said, if I would be driven by an automatic car, it would be cool. But even almost the same amount of kids were missing the human connection.
Okay, so it's a bit of a, it's cool, but
I miss the human. No.
Yeah, okay.
And most of the kids, what they said. So even those who found it cool, they really miss the human connection, and that's something. And then I'm coming back to the Uber question. Needs not to be underestimated. How important the human connection is. So you need to be valued for that.
Thank you very much. That's an excellent point. And by the way, we've got a new face to the table. We've got Carolina, we've got Mel, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. This is Tokyoki. It's a pop-up talk show. So currently we're talking about ratings and the need for human contact. Give us your name.
My name is Wouter from the Public Spaces Foundation.
Welcome, Wouter. Do you miss a human connection? Do you encourage human connection when you're driving with an Uber driver? How do you give ratings to your drivers?
Actually, I have never been driving in a Uber car.
Oh gosh!
And based on principle reasons.
What are those principles?
So I don't trust this platform organization and the way they exploit their drivers, and they are going against regulations, public regulations in the world, trying to deregulate in favor of their maximization of profit.
So what do you think about this idea of maybe switching to the driverless Uber cars, in which case the drivers are protected because they're just not there? Maybe that's better. Would that be a better solution, Mikey?
Well, I just want to point out that I've got a Bolt rating of 5.0.
Is it better than Uber?
I think they might be slightly better than Uber in terms of like the cut that they take compared to their drivers. I didn't try. I wasn't aiming for that rating, but I think it is because I'm a professional talk show host, so I do actually always talk to the Uber or Bolt drivers. I just got a message saying you've got a 5.0.
There's like a deliberate special message just to let you know how well you're doing.
I have to say I'm quite pleased with what Uber and Bolt have done in London compared to the cartel that the taxi drivers had there, and they were really anti-changing their polluting diesel cars to electric, and Uber came in and just blew them away, and an Uber driver was driving the Prius. And it was a much more open system where you didn't have to kind of join this club in order to be part of the system. And they're much, much cheaper, more accessible than normal taxi.
Wouter, does that convince you? They may be not as ethical. Uber may be not as ethical towards the drivers. There's a human connection, but, but they're good for the planet. So people just maybe should go there themselves.
So, if possible, I'm in favor of public transportation, and I wanted to mention we are here at the MozFest, and this is a great festival about public values and openness and transparency and privacy. Next week we'll have the Public Spaces Conference around here in the Pakhuis de Zwijger in Amsterdam on Tuesday and Wednesday. Public Spaces Conference. Many of the people are here, are coming there as well, talking about the same kind of issues, about regulating AI, about public values, openness, and what can we do to foster a society based on human rights in the digital realm.
I mean, is there some kind of like a rating system for rating both conferences or experiences? Should we introduce this? I mean, they're two similar conferences. Like, why are they? Okay, well, give us a final thought before you go. Or was that it? Was the plug? I mean, we don't mind the plug; it's okay. But like, what is the main difference between these two conferences? Is there a difference? Which one would you rate higher?
I think both have a very interesting aspect. The Public Spaces Conference has a important focus on culture and arts, and to raise awareness about what AI and technology are doing with us, to get the human factor back again.
Okay.
Centered in the human beings, and I think that's here an important one as well. I wouldn't dare to rate either one of them, so I would suggest to go to both. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, you get a 5-star rating from us here on Tokyoki, and enjoy the conference and the one next week as well. But you mentioned creativity as well. I mean, like you mentioned about asking children about this idea of being driven to the classes by a car itself. Was it just a kind of question and kids kind of imagine what it actually would feel like, or did you do some kind of visualization for them?
So we did actually a research which was meant to increase child participation, meaningful child participation in the Netherlands about AI. It's as a start of an AI for Youth initiative we initiated in the Netherlands. And the goal was to create a space in which we have the discussion at least, because normally innovation seems to happen to us. And we have no space for discussion. And we should start broad and early. So we have to have a conversation about to what extent do we want that?
Yeah. And what do children actually think about, and what is the kind of ethical side of it? I mean, is there a kind of good age when the children should be introduced into this decision-making idea, or should we just let kids be kids up until the age of... Come and join us, by the way, this is a talk show. You can be on it, you can just listen as well, for your drinks on the table, but yeah.
So what we really loved is that the conviction to include kids is very important to start already early from the primary school. Also based on a philosopher's perspective, Martin Buber, who is explaining kids' perspective as something that they do their relations. It's not that they know, they want to know you. They have this existential necessity to relate. They can only grow up with you as a human being in their life. So they have this perspective on AI that is very nurturing human-centric AI and the whole debate of human-centric AI, because they have their own experiences.
Okay, so maybe creating more spaces for this kind of two-way conversation doesn't matter what the age is, because actually you can learn from the perspective of a small child. I mean, should there be a Mozilla or MozFest for children, junior? Sorry, Mikey.
Sorry to take it over. I am enjoying a lot the Youth Zone, and you have already an established platform, Youth Zone, that facilitates conversations with youth. What I highly enjoyed in our research with kids' rights is that we started even a little bit earlier. So for the primary schoolers who are normally not introduced to this.
In any particular countries or across? Like, where are the kids coming from?
We started with our research in the Netherlands, so we had the Dutch focus, but I would love to continue internationally too.
Okay, actually, we're talking about children and what is their view on AI. Do you feel like you're learning about AI from your, maybe it's your son, maybe it's just another child, I don't know. Are you going, Carolina? Give us a final thought. Come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. You're welcome to join. At the moment, we've got Carolina, we've got Mel, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. What is your name?
Ivor.
Ivor, nice to meet you, Ivor. And we've got?
Simon.
Simon, grab a seat as well. So right now, Carolina is working on this research paper with kids in here. It's about AI and about would you like to be driven to your school or hockey class or wherever you go by a like a personless car. So be just driven by a car, or would you miss that kind of, I don't know, Simon behind a steering wheel or a bus driver?
Robots.
Yeah, I like that.
You would enjoy it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would you like it?
I don't really know.
So it's a feeling. It will be just maybe a nice thing to participate in. Simon, how do you feel about this? I mean, would you send off eyes on the little, you know, with a driverless car to take him to school?
Sort of on cars? Not really. Not right. No.
What are your reservations?
But it depends. Not when it. I mean, I imagine after a certain amount of time, they probably. I'm not going to be one of the first to try it out. If that's what. I'm going to have to see how it pans out and then make a decision on that.
Right.
Based around that. I mean, I imagine that they'll probably be better at driving than humans. That would be what might. That's what I'm thinking, but what I'm feeling is that it's an unusual situation, and I don't know. So it'd be a conflicting thought, is what I would have.
Okay, that's really interesting. So Eves is up for it. Simon, I'm not sure. Mikey?
Well, we were just talking to a guy a few minutes ago that just got his bicycle flattened in Amsterdam by a van turning right, and it could have been much worse. So maybe the driverless cars should come in as soon as possible, you know, just to avoid these little accidents, because it could get serious. So, you know, maybe we should just concentrate on what we're good at.
Okay, what about cyclists? I mean,
cyclists-less cycles, you're talking about that?
Or carless drivers?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of of a bicycle that steers itself, but I think you'd still have to pedal, wouldn't you? Or would it do the pedaling as well?
I don't know. I mean, do you enjoy cycling?
Yeah.
And do you find it scary or a nice experience?
A nice experience.
Okay. Are you a good cyclist, would you say?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's fantastic. Mel, did you want to chip in on something there?
Yeah, so we were saying to make it safer, we have to change the cars to be driverless cars, because we're bad drivers. What about scooters? Because, okay, you mentioned that someone got hit on their bicycle, but I got hit by a scooter the other day when I was on a zebra crossing. They just like smacked straight into me.
Was it painful?
Yeah, they ran over my foot and they hurt. I got my arm hit and I've got a big bruise on my hip still. I mean, actually, I walked away pretty well. Like, I was kind of shocked because when it happened, I was like, they ran over my foot. They ran over my foot, like as if my foot must be broken. It was fine. I used a lot of ice, but yeah, I mean, I still have this like memory of these people just like coming out of nowhere and smashing into me. But do I believe that if there were not humans on that scooter, it would have been safer? I don't know.
Okay, I mean, driverless cars? Are you into it?
I need to meet someone.
Okay, hopefully they're a real person. They may not be. I don't know. Yes.
May I have a question, since we do this research with kids, and I'm really curious what would be the answer. Sorry, of your name again? Ivan.
Oh, Ivan. Sorry.
Sorry, my apologies. So, can you imagine a robot being a friend?
Yeah, come and join us, by the way.
Can you imagine a robot being your friend?
And why?
Actually, I came to the conference issue.
2 minutes, come here, 2 minutes, the conference is starting.
I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about.
What would you like about a robot being a friend?
Talk to Elle over there. She'll help you.
It would probably be able to do anything, maybe.
Okay, so we're talking about being friends with robots. So it's a yes. I think it's a yes. We don't know quite yet.
He has a robot toy, but one thing I notice about the toys is they're quite humanized anyway. They're sort of like human. They've modelled them after creatures, whether I suppose an AI doesn't have to be modelled after a human, does it? I think they do. Like it can be anything, can't it? It could be a brick. It could be. So it's quite interesting how we personify AI in that way.
So is it kind of helping personifying robots? By the way, we've got Simon, we've got Ivan, we've got Carolina. What's your name?
I'm Alex, but I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, that's okay. We can bring you up to speed. Right now, we're talking about: do we need to make AI and robots look like human and act like humans for them to be relatable? And this is Mikey. I'm Margot. This is Tokioki.
Not at all.
What else should they look like then?
It doesn't matter. It matters what they do.
Okay, what do they do? What an ideal robot would be doing?
Whatever it wants. I mean, I mean that they have their own logic, their own agenda. So, yeah, I don't know. It depends.
Okay. I mean, are you connected to AI in any way, or robotics?
Very much.
Okay. In what kind of way are you connected to them?
I provide data to them
Okay.
because no AI can work without data. You have to train it. I'm a data provider.
Okay, that's great. I mean, you've provided us with some data, some kind of input into the conversation, but you're welcome to stay for 2 minutes just to see what happens to the data you've put in. It's going to be instant feedback. But right now, we've got Simon, we've got Ivan, we've got Carolina, we've got Alex, we've got Mikey, and I'm Margo, and this is Tokioki. So, okay, question here. Robots for children, why do they look a bit like human? Driverless cars may be cool, but what about that human connection? What about that? Is it a little bit overrated? But it all kind of kicked off with us talking about would you eat a piece of food found on the street? So how does it all link? I don't know. Does it link?
I mean, I grabbed the mic, but I was making a point earlier on about you know, about what age should we bring innovation to children or young people, and I would say from 2 onwards, because I think because that's when kids start talking, and then you can start innovating. I don't think there's any limit to innovation. I think the only limit to innovation is actually the world of work stopping people from innovating because it can get annoying after a while. So. I think there should be more innovation.
Okay, so I mean, let's have children in labs. Maybe how do you feel about being in the lab, just being creative, playing around, helping researchers do their thing, build robots? Would you like to do something like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I mean, it all kind of started with you, Carolina, saying, you know, you talk to children quite young, kind of primary school age, and encouraging them to have that kind of dialogue with, I don't know, wider society really, and kind of input their ideas into to the technological advancements. I mean, Alex, how young were you when you started doing stuff? And I'll come to you, Carolina.
Well, when I was young, there were no computers at all. But may I raise another question in this direction about the free will? Because imagine if you drive your car, you probably don't even understand which part of town you're in, you just turn left, right because you're guided. And I can imagine that with all these AI things, we'll be quite guided. For example, this guy could be your friend till the end of your life, and you should go to this university. So it will be a lot of guidance, which will let us feel quite relaxed, because you know we choose the best school, the best friends, the best ideas, the best job, and we might find ourselves in a situation when life is beautiful, but we don't choose it.
Okay, but is that a problem? So your question was about
it's probably not a problem, but my feeling is just like with the maps. When I was young, when we were driving car with my father, I was deep in these maps. Actually, it was painful. But when car navigation came, I was part of this story. I liked it. So I think I enjoy it. But I'm concerned that we will choose less and less and less ourselves.
Okay, I think that's a really great direction of the conversation. Yes, Simon.
But also about like nuance of like getting lost and the chance, you know, chance, coincidence, accidental things that can happen by being a human and just not knowing what you're doing. I think a lot of exploration, discovery can evolve that way rather than knowing where.
And I'm just going to come to Carolina very quickly because you had something to throw in, and
I can agree with that. One of the insights what we received, at least from the conversations with kids, is that they have this creative experience when they are young, which is really nurturing multiple senses. It's something that you have as a child and you outgrow as an adult. Martin Buber is a philosopher, and he calls it as an intuitive epistemology, or basically you explore the world by doing the stuff you do.
Is that what epistemology
Not particularly
is?
because you want to know, but it's just to do, to experience life, and then after that, you gather your experience.
So what is epistemology? Is it that kind of experiential?
Yeah, that you evolve with the experiences you come across. You interact with a self-driving car maybe, but you interact with your teacher, and all those humans in your neighborhood are potentially role models.
Okay, so talking about role models, Mikey's gonna like literally burst, and I'll come to you, Alex.
No, I just want to, because this answer the point that Simon made. There's a situationists that do all kinds of like wandering around, and deliberately getting lost, and they've got one exercise that they used to do where they used to take a map of one city and use it to guide themselves around a different city, just to deliberately kind of lose themselves and discover new things. And I think that element of randomness is really, really important as well in the creative journey, in the human journey. So it's not choice, it's not determinism, but it's just chance, I think, is also a big part.
I mean, Alex, what do you think about creating an app for, just moving around, but different map for a different city? Would people buy into it? Would you join an app like this, that you get like random map, random city? But Alex,
it will be not a map, it will be your voice-based assistant, like Siri or whatever, and which will guide you. But again, when you are a child, you are learning how to deal with different people. Just try to recall how many errors you made when you interacted with different people. You interact with one guy, he's not good, another one is not good, so you always get hurt or damaged through the things, but in a way you learn how to deal with people. Imagine when somebody guides you in ideal case that you never ever meet bad people. From one side is good, from another you have no experience how to...
Of things going wrong, maybe even.
How to deal with wrong things.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. Yeah. Okay, you have to round... Okay, so why don't we do some final thoughts from you, Carolina, and from you, Alex. You threw in a lot, and so did you, yeah?
No, thanks so much. I can relate to that. So it's really important to have both experiences, not that you want to expose your kids to bad stuff, but learning from certain things that didn't work out is extremely nourishing, because it allows for you to be random, to be spontaneous, as we have heard earlier, and that's extremely important for this human-centric AI debate as well, because for human-centric AI you need human-centric humans.
And have you ever experienced any kind of like things going wrong, but it was quite informative to your experience or to your research, or tell us,
Doing the whole research is when you fall and stand up, right?
Take your word for it, yeah.
Coming to completion is something that you go through yourself, but that was really fantastic to learn from the kids, how they explore life, how they grow up, and including their perceptions of whether an AI can be a teacher, whether an AI can be a police agent, whether an AI can be a nanny. So it was fantastic to have just the space, the conversation, and their insights, which is oftentimes not there.
Yeah. So when can we expect the Netherlands going full AI in all these jobs that you named? And when will we see children in the parliament?
I would vote for the last one. Let's see children in the parliament.
Okay.
And maybe don't just go further that fast with AI in every social roles, but let's have the conversation. Let's have the space for it.
Okay, fantastic. Well, this is a conversation. Thank you so much for stopping by, and enjoy the rest of the conference. Are you bouncing as well? You're gonna, yeah. What are you here to do? What are you here to experience?
It's Ivan just does breakdancing in there. That's
all.
He's
Really?
got breakdancing.
See you later.
class.
Okay.
So I'm just taking him there. And his sister's just in there now, so I was going to the shop. That's all. It's nothing that urgent, but he wants to go.
Yeah, no, of course. I mean, is breakdance and AI related in any way? Is there can the robot do breakdance? That's the question. Yeah?
What do you think robots breakdance? Actually, in my class we had to make like this invention, and I wanted to make this robot that can breakdance.
Oh. So you're already working on it? Okay. No, this is it. I mean, we're hoping to see you more involved in the kind of, AI creation, informing AI. I think creativity and breakdance is something that we'd love to see.
I've actually seen give that a little wiggle, actually. So something's gone wrong with that. Oh, no, there we go. Turned down. Okay. I've actually seen a turn this one down, turn that one up. Oops. I've actually seen a robot break dance. The Boston Dynamics make a dancing robot. And they're kind of showing off the robot by getting it to break dance.
And how is it looking? Is it doing a good job?
It's actually scary because these robots now can, they've got such good ability to run and jump and tumble that they could potentially be kind of used as soldiers, and they're like a Terminator really. They're not quite at Terminator level, but getting in that direction.
Okay, so is it a real fear that these robots, when they specialize, they're gonna turn into being maybe not the best ballet dancers, for instance, but they will evolve into being killing machines? Is this what's happening? Is that a real fear, or is it just, how do you feel about it?
I'd say there must be a potential for that, of course, yeah. There'd be a lot of responsibility, I think, for people developing it, or if it gets sentience or whatever, if that's even possible. I've heard it is. Also, that makes you think about what consciousness is in a way, doesn't it? Because I don't even know how you define whether something is conscious or not. So it does tell us a lot about ourselves as well. But yeah, there's definitely potential for it to have. I mean, if we're its role models,
yeah,
then who knows what could happen.
No, absolutely. And what do you think about this idea that Alex had thrown in? Like, would you like to live in a life that is just beautifully, easily navigated for you, or would you, you kind of said about this chance and randomness, but would you actually choose?
Yeah, personally I would, just because for synchronicities and stuff of life that's just more nuanced. Yeah, I would find it a bit more flavoursome or something rather than.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
For me personally, I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe as the conversation continues, maybe Ivan, you can start throwing stuff into the conversation, and maybe you can inform how the robots evolve in the future. You never know. But breakdance is a brilliant place to start, I think. So thank you so much both for stopping by, and when you come out of the class, come and tell us how it was. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah. See you very soon then, both. Take care. So that's a little bit of Tokyoki just right now. So talking about sentient robots, we have been talking about free will. Are you free? Do you have free will? Would you like to have a life decided for you by a robot? Kind of like, Google Maps for life. What's your name?
Lucas, hi.
Hi, Lucas. I'm Margot, and this is Mikey. Come and join us. Do you have free will? Is it really that precious? So right now we have been talking about, what about evolving into having AI give us a life direction in such a way that it's a nice, pleasant, fruitful life, but without any kind of margin of error, without any kind of mistakes, randomness. It's all kind of like a lovely, lovely path made for us. And what does it do to our free will? So yeah, how would you like to see AI control your life in the future, if at all?
Not, hopefully.
Why not? What are you scared of? Are you scared of something?
I don't know. I think. I don't know. It's a complex question. I think I think life is mistakes, and if no mistakes are there anymore, then there's no life. Then you are basically a machine yourself. Arguably. Okay. Arguably. I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, so what about this? So, is the world prepared for us to be making mistakes all the time? I mean, are we being rewarded for our mistakes, or is it a bit of a kind of double standard? Yeah, it's about the mistakes, but really, if you get this wrong, then I'm sorry, it's going to cost you a job. Are we okay with this? Like, what's going on? I mean, Mike, are you okay with this? Is life for you about the mistakes or getting stuff right?
Well, it's both, isn't it? I think going back to the question of free will. I watched a YouTube video saying free will is a necessary illusion. But yeah, if you don't have free will, then they don't really have mistakes because you haven't really chosen anything. So even if something goes wrong, it's down to the universe, not down to you.
Okay.
So it's all, the idea of free will is so tied up with the idea of responsibility. And I think it's important to have. Responsibility doesn't necessarily mean it's your fault, but it means, like, say, for example, you knock someone over on a bicycle, you have to help them out, take them to hospital, buy them a new bike, whatever.
Unless, if you're riding, we heard about somebody being, hit by a scooter. I don't think that scooter driver stopped and checked. But I mean, is this expecting a bit too much of humanity to be kind of so conscientious and kind of, clean up your mess, so to speak? I mean, Lucas, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I think that's just. I don't know. It's. I think yes. I think accountability is important, but that all comes down more to like moral standards and a culture that is built on these beliefs and on this kind of system that prioritizes moral values. I don't know. I think that's something that is a bit difficult with AI. That morality is something very subjective in a lot of ways, and I think it's really difficult to program that. And I think that's where the big issues always come from, the biases that get infused, and because there's no such thing as a rule. It's morality is subjective.
Okay, morality is subjective, or is there an existing objective way of seeing morality? Are you moral? And what does it mean? Are you moral? Yeah, are you moral? Come and join us. This is a talk show. Yeah, are you moral? Do you have morals? And does it actually matter if you don't? I'm not making any assumptions. This is just a conversation right now. It's a pop-up talk show. You've got large books there. Please rest the books here, rest your elbows and recline and just kind of enjoy the conversation.
Just going for a cup of water. I needed a drink, so if you can fix me a drink, I'll talk to you.
We can, yeah, we've got some. We can get you a cup, probably.
You switched me out. I have to go upstairs.
Okay, give us a final thought before you go.
I want to correct that morality is not subjective, but partially subjective.
Okay, what's the difference?
Not that I got cancelled.
But which part of morality is subjective? But thank you very much, Lucas. Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to come back. But meanwhile, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. This is Tokyoki. It's a pop-up talk show. You decide on the direction of conversation. What's your name?
My name's Charlotte.
Charlotte, welcome.
Rolf.
Wolf, welcome. So we've got it all going. So meanwhile, we have been talking about morality. Can you teach morality to an AI? Is morality just a partially subjective thing? Can we actually agree on something that's like universal morality? It all kind of started off by talking about driverless cars and testing that on children. Also, we're looking for a cup of water for people who are very thirsty here because it's summer. That's it. And you've got all these books. I mean, why do you have these books? How do they relate to MozFest or to morality?
I have no idea about MozFest, but I do know that I just got this when I came through the door and I thought it looked lovely, so I'm going to read this.
Okay.
This is French books that my friend picked for me.
Lovely.
So that's always good. And this is a biography of our former queen. And I just got that from the bookstore across the corner, so I'm just delighted. I'm not sure it fits your morality issue, but I'm just
yeah.
delighted.
I mean, what about this queen? Was she a moral person? Does it actually matter for someone who's like head of state potentially? Yeah.
She probably was. Yeah, I think she did her best. She was married to a creepy guy who didn't have any morals, but she did what she could.
Okay, so she tried her best. I mean, what is it for you about morals? I mean, where do you sit on this? I mean, do you have any morals?
I hope so.
Yeah. In what areas do you have morals?
In ethics, in love, in raising my children, I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that kind of things.
Yeah. I mean, do you see a future? I mean, because this is MozFest. You may not know about this, but this is kind of a bunch of very interesting people talking about things like trustworthy AI, technology developments, all sorts of things. So it's kind of that technological, digital.
Exclusive? Isn't that mutually exclusive? Like ethic IA doesn't seem possible. I mean, it's by definition not very ethical, is it? It's just machines doing their thing. It's not people, no morals, no ethics, no normative behavior, I'd say. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, well, AI, trustworthy AI just doesn't go together. Prove me wrong. Is that what you're saying? I mean, Mikey, do you have any views on this? I mean, like, what is? I mean, maybe we should get down to it. Like, what is AI? And
Well, I mean, if you if you consider it to be a machine, it's like, I think you're right, in a way the machine, you can't trust the machine, but you have to be able to trust the manufacturer of that machine or the owner of that machine. You know, like be it the van that ran over our friend on the bicycle, it's not, we don't blame the machine, we blame the driver, and it's the same with AI. You know, there's someone we've always got to blame if something goes wrong with it.
I mean, so is AI called into question only when things go wrong? I mean, like,
I'd like to debate his point. Who can you blame when it goes wrong? I have no idea. If the machine goes wrong, if IE does its thing and it goes wrong, who do you say you can blame? I have no clue.
I mean, can we trace it back? If AI just messes something up, who is responsible? Is it even a thing? Is it a group of data sets? I don't know. What, is it the lab that created?
Who can you sue?
Yeah. Can you sue an AI? Wolf, anything to add?
I hope the manufacturer or the user. But what if the user doesn't, how do you say, correct the text or the output? Then you can say the user is to blame.
Yeah. So it's kind of passing on the blame to a human. I mean, can you sue AI right now?
Well, I mean, one of the interesting developments with AI is it's being used more and more, not to be sued, but actually to do legal stuff, because the AI can look through all of the cases that have ever been and decide which ones are relevant and what the precedents are. And it is being used more and more in the field of law. But not as, it's not the one to be sued, but the one that's doing the suing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's not, I think who's to blame and who's responsible should be separated from the kind of legal question, because the law is a blunt instrument, and I think it shouldn't just be a legal question, but an ethical question as well.
Okay, so suing AI is actually an ethical question, but what does it actually mean? I mean, are we just growing slightly more kind of, I don't know, growing apart from technology and the kind of the human world? Are we holding on to our human values and human ways of thinking too much? Or maybe that's exactly correct and AI has to keep up with us a little bit more. Any views on this?
I think it's just dangerous, and I disagree basically with everything you just said. So this is not going to be a very good conversation.
That sounds to me like a brilliant debate, yes? Yeah?
No, if you can't, if you say you can't hold them to legal standards but to ethical ones, well, screw the ethical ones, so I prefer the legal ones first. I mean, if you're not sure who you can sue, I don't want to even be in touch with it.
What I'm saying is it shouldn't just be, because the problem with the law and AI is that the law can't keep up with what AI is doing. So if you hold it to the legal standard, it's a very low standard. So what I'm really saying is that the people running these systems should actually be on a higher ethical standard than what is legal, because legally there are no rules. Do you know what I mean? It's like because people haven't designed laws with AI in mind when it comes to things like privacy, recognizing people, when it comes to responsibility for advice, and none of these things are actually legally in place. So there must be some ethics for the people that run these systems.
But I mean, what would be like a scenario for an AI to kind of get into trouble legally? Because I think we're being quite general AI law, there's no kind of maybe laws with AI in mind because they just haven't evolved yet. But what could be a potential scenario? What could actually happen that would,
Well, it's very easy. You can already see it with copyright. I mean, AI makes wonderful texts and frames and everything, and it seems brilliant, but it's just not their own words. They took it from the work from someone who wrote something, and that has copyright on it. And with AI, the copyright simply vanishes.
Okay. I mean, the books that you've got today, are you sure they're not written by an AI?
Yes. That's an easy one, yeah.
Okay.
This book is from 1932. This is one 1929. I just guess right now.
Yeah.
This is a book about our queen.
You're as bad as AI, just like cross-referencing dates willy-nilly, just as
The only thing doubtful is the one I got from you. So.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm good.
Yeah. So
The book of the festival, is it AI or?
well, this is a very good question. I mean, what do you think? I have no idea, actually, to be honest. It looks like a bit of a compendium of knowledge. Maybe we'll get some answers in there. But you know, can AI actually fake historical artifacts? I mean, humans are more, quite capable of it. Yeah.
I said 1932. It actually is 1930.
Okay. So there's a margin. I mean, should we hold it against you? This kind of misinformation.
I would if I were you.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, why do you have the selection of books anyway? Are you gonna what are you gonna use it for? Are you actually gonna read them or turn them into audio books? I mean, who reads books these days?
Who reads books these days?
We too.
No. Yeah.
I'm a bookseller, and
What sells best?
what sells best? Sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of.
Yeah. When I'm on a book market, books about cats and sex. That's,
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what about books on cats having sex? Has that been
I don't know. No, I guess not. But what I like most is literature or history, philosophy. But that doesn't sell, and even worse is poetry.
Okay, so poetry doesn't sell. Why? I mean, should we get? I mean, I don't know. Like, as a bookseller, I mean, like, how is the future of your line of work going to pan out, Mikey?
I have this joke with my girlfriend who used to have that joke that she's going to come back and all her books will be gone and there'll be a lovely brand new Kindle instead, which would take up much less space than all these books which clog up the whole house.
And has that happened?
No.
Okay.
Because the books actually are there, they're not just there for information, they're there to signify who you are as well. So they're kind of part of your identity, that the presence, the object is actually important to say, this is who I am. I mean, recently there was a British politician who was on Zoom and everyone just made fun of her because she only had one book. Let's get a final thought from this man before.
Oh, he's going.
Yeah, they only had one book on their bookshelf, so you have to have a lot of books, otherwise you look like a stupid person.
Okay. Do you have any books, or do you have no books in your flat?
I have all the books.
Yeah, what kind of books? I mean, because we're just talking about books. You've got a bunch of books here. Apparently, books about sex and cats sell the best. Philosophy, poetry, not so much. In fact, it's a big decline. And apparently, the more books you have, the more it tells people about your own identity and how clever you are. So, how clever are you?
I'm not as clever as I used to be because a lot of my books were stolen when I lived in Berlin. So I lost about 400 books or something.
How? I mean, how were they stolen?
Well, there was an illegal foreclosure of our basement by a cowboy removal company. So yeah, I sued and nothing came of it. There we are.
I mean, should you have gotten AI on the case just to kind of win your corner? That's kind of what we were talking before. Can AI actually be useful to people, or do we just need to regulate more laws and put more laws against
In a
it?
legal sense, I think if I had an AI fight my case, I would not have only not got anything, but probably had to end up paying as well.
Okay.
So I'm not sure we're there yet. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Give us your final thought.
Final thought for the festival.
Final thought. You're amazing. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
I think I came every single day, and I didn't even mean to.
And you can't even leave now because you're just too glued.
We'll see you in Lancashire. 1st of July, Nelson Festival, or 8th and 9th Festival of Making in Blackburn. Okay, give us a final thought.
Okay, so before you go, thank you very much. Catch your ferry. Okay, so where are you guys going now? You're gonna have a drink. So water was just a starter. Okay. What are good places? What are the good places to visit in Amsterdam? Is it your bookshop? Do you jointly run this bookshop? How does it work?
No, it's not in Amsterdam. It's in Deventer. It's called the Book Town, Deventer.
Deventer, where is it? Where about?
In the east, 1 hour from Amsterdam.
It's the place to be, really. Deventer is the place to be. Amsterdam is just,
Is it overrated a little bit?
Desperately, yes. Deventer is really much nicer.
But tell us why, because we've never been booked.
It's a book town, yeah. Called after Daventry, if I'm...
Everything books Deventer. Everything books Deventer.
Deventer, okay. I'm going to check this out because I'm interested. Yeah, please do if you don't mind. There's actually loads of space there. Hello, welcome. This is Tolhuistuin. Do you have anything to say? Do you read books? Oh, yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. Okay, so we're going to go and check this place out, yes?
The first Sunday in August, the famous book market in Deventer. Yeah.
Biggest
one in Europe.
Okay.
Biggest in Europe.
Okay, what are the trends coming up this August? Is it going to be sex and cats?
Always.
Well, there's that as the main program and some other niche things, probably poetry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have fun.
Cheers so much for stopping by. Enjoy your drink and good luck with the festival in August. Mikey?
I mean, I guess I'm thinking of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland because it's sex, pets and poetry all in one.
Come and join us as well if you want to. Just talking about AI taking over your life, and everybody's going.
Final thoughts.
No, but final thoughts, everybody. So Sam, I happen to know your name because you're no stranger to Tolhuistuin Table, but you're leaving the conference. So please give us some final thought.
On the subject of free bicycles, knowing your free bicycles, knowing your route. I think as long as you know when you're signing up and taking your route that's what's going on. And I also think if they shared that information, because not just the routing, but they could also have other sensors that could detect speed, whether streets are bumpy, all that sort of thing, and then they could be used to potentially assist where streets might need to be repaved, where the traffic is good or bad. So I think it's not a bad thing if it's free, but I think as long as it goes to a social cause and as long as you're aware, it's made very clear.
Okay, thank you very much. So yeah, you started off with the bicycles. Yeah, we've got final thought from yourself, Siobhan?
About bicycles or
anything,
about what?
Could be absolutely anything.
I would say just about tech in general, don't believe the hype. Read the fine print and listen to independent experts not co-opted by big tech and corporations.
Fantastic, and watch the space for some memes that kind of break down the idea of terms and conditions. Thank you very much. Do you like any memes? Come and join us, guys. We're just having a conversation. It really is about any subjects that you want to discuss as you are coming in. We've got a new person around the table. Well, we've got Casey, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. What's your name?
Martin.
Martin. Okay, and these people are going. So Martin, so right now we've been talking about data sharing through bicycle, free bicycle hire, terms and conditions. We're talking about
Data
memes.
being used in evil ways.
You can do this job. Yeah, go on. What else? We're talking about memes. Like that's what's stuck in my mind.
How comfortable would you be knowing that you were here and somebody took a video of you without your knowledge and turned you into a meme, and it was like some
global phenomenon?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the 15 minutes of fame that you were talking about, but maybe they're completely out of your control. So this is it. Come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. I've just done a recap, but you're welcome to join. We've got Martin, we've got Mikey, we've got Casey. My name is Margot, and this is Tolhuistuin. Mikey.
Oh, thank you. I think it's a really good idea with what they're currently called Santander cycles in London. They could collect all kinds of data, and I think it would be super, super useful, and it could even pay for the rides as well, because you could collect all kinds of data about the roads, about air pollution, about
people stopping at traffic lights.
whether or not, I mean, on the way here, because I was late for the train to get to the plane, I went through every single red traffic light just to get there in time.
I mean, would you be concerned that this data will be used to give you bad rating as a citizen, somebody whose rights will be compromised, or you pay double taxes, something like that?
I mean, hopefully the AI would balance the social good of me getting to the conference.
But how do you measure social good? How do you traffic lights easy, but how do you measure social good?
I don't know.
Okay, Martin, any views on this? Social good, how would you measure that? Are you socially good?
Well, I'm just here to pick up my kids from the dance lesson.
I'll give you 1 point for that. Yeah, that's okay. That's social good. I mean, earlier we were talking about kids going back home or into their breakdance classes. Come and join us. This is a pop-up talk show. You're welcome to join. Talking about driverless cars, we were, and some kids weren't quite into this idea. So maybe in the future you won't even have to collect your kids.
That would be nice.
Okay, good. Right. So Yeah. I mean, have you ever given a rating on something before?
No, I don't. I never do that.
Why not?
No, that's not true. Once I put up a review on what's it? No. Like in the States, it's popular where you can rate anything. You review.
Like on Amazon or something.
No. It's like, fuck, what was it called?
I know what you're talking about.
I don't.
It's like a rating thing that rates everything. What's it called? Trustpilot. Is it Trustpilot?
Yeah, Trustpilot.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
But now
but anyway,
now
let's
it's
go
been kind of
something
taken
like-
over by Google, and where you see the reviews. I do check them, and I do somehow know how to read them. So, but I also realize there's probably a lot of fakes in there.
Yeah, but so you are. That's really interesting because you're absorbing. You are hoping that other people will leave a review, but you won't review yourself. But you're benefiting from their kind of, I don't know, selling their soul to the, I don't know, rating.
It's always two ways. So either so there's one group of people who want to praise stuff. You know, they're happy with it, or they're friends with the owners, whatever. And there's bad reviews, and I like reading bad reviews. Like, why do people hate this place? And sometimes it's really funny.
Okay, so you read it for comedy reasons, is it?
No, it's not for a comedy
No.
reason. So, okay, like some people are appalled by certain things, which not necessarily would appall
Give
me.
us an example. Like, what is the thing that you
I
are
don't know,
bothered
like
about?
I don't.
Paper was not very nice in this restaurant or something.
Listen, this is like a very important point. Toilet paper is an absolute crucial thing. But yeah.
And it could, I don't know, it could be like, I don't know, I like quiet places. Some people like busy places. Some people, and you kind of read in between the lines if it's something for you. I don't know.
Okay,
But I do like that reviews exist, but I'm really a lurker. I only take, I never give.
Okay, are you a lurker, Casey? I mean,
sometimes.
Do you read reviews? Do you leave reviews?
No, I don't leave reviews.
Well, okay, no worries. Give us a final thought before you go. Anything? Absolutely.
Love is everywhere.
Yeah. What's the? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I will rate that response as a strong 2 out of 20. No, come on. Anyway, you had to go. But yeah, so you leave reviews? No, you don't leave reviews. Why?
No.
What's the matter?
I think once I've had that experience, I shut it out and I move on to looking for the next experience. I probably don't read reviews enough because I've had bad experiences where I've maybe read a blog post or something about a place and I had it like super hyped up in my expectations and it wasn't very good. But yeah, I don't really read reviews very often because I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
I will ask my inner circle for reviews of places if they know of. That's where Foursquare used to be so fucking cool when you would travel around and then you'd see where my friends and connections had been. That was awesome. I actually think that was a really cool platform.
What was that platform again?
Foursquare. Like
Foursquare.
you could check into different places and leave a recommendation of like try the tofu cheesecake here or whatever it is. And people in your network that you were connected to, you could see how many times they frequented that place. I once tried to become the mayor of like if you frequent it a lot, you get like these different status levels.
Different badges.
Yeah. Like I once tried to become the mayor of certain gates at the airport here, like to show that I left from this gate a lot. But yeah. That was kind of.
I mean,
fun.
would that give you any real life privileges being a mayor of the?
You don't get any sort of like social currency out of that. You don't get a discount at places or anything
so
like
why
that.
do people do it? I mean, like, what is that about? I mean, what do you think about it?
I mean, I'm like a really bad sort of rater because I gave everybody 5 out of 5 unless they've really pissed me off.
Does that make you a loser or actually you're a very generous person?
No, it's like it's just more positive. Like if I like something a little bit, I'll give it 5. If I like it a lot, I'll give it 5. If I love it, I'll give it 5. If I don't like it, I won't leave a rating at all.
Okay.
One rating that I think is really funny is to like ask my friends what their Uber rating is and how Uber drivers have rated them, and then like compare it with each other. Like, okay, my rating is a 4.5, and then one friend who I know is only ever getting in Ubers when he's drunk, he gets like a 5, and I'm like, how does he get a 5 and I'm lower than him? And he's because he's always really chatty and like engaging with the driver.
Because he's smashed.
Yeah, because he's smashed, exactly. And I'm like, man, I don't communicate communicate enough. I get in, fall asleep, and wait till I get home or something like that.
Well, you know what, weirdly enough, we have been talking about this, and people have noticed at the table that actually when you're taking Ubers because you're really tired, you've been traveling or whatever, and you don't engage, you don't put on this kind of like chatty persona for your Uber driver, then that gives you bad reviews. So, and it makes me think of your work situation. I mean, are we expected to be always on, or you know, like what's that about? I mean, do you ever get tired of this?
I do, and I guess there could be this risk of like a social currency. Imagine if there was like an Uber platform where we're talking about like your social contract, how good you are at behaving in public, and then now the hotel check-in desk is rating your, you know, level of engagement. The Uber driver, how wait staff find you. Are you polite? Do you thank them when they bring you the food? Do you leave a review for that restaurant? Imagine if there's like this Uber platform that gets created of like a currency or kudos kind of. That would be kind of scary. Would we behave differently if we knew we were also, as an individual, being rated in the same way a restaurant is?
Yeah.
Maybe that would solve some of these things where it's like, you made a meme out of me. And
I'm going to rate you now.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do we get those kind of, I mean, if the meme is global, how do we kind of rate somebody on a global scale?
So
I mean, is that possible?
Like an Uber thing, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
No, I mean, it just reminds me, Larry David has got a Uber rating of 1. He's got Uber rating of 1.
Why?
Just because he's an arsehole. But he's still a very successful person, so, you know, he can have an Uber rating of 1 and still be liked.
But I mean, is it really a real issue if you've got a low Uber rating? I mean, you know, is it,
that one's one that I find kind of funny.
Okay, so it's like lowest of the low. I mean, I suppose he could have a half.
4.5 is, I think, is pretty good. I think, in a way, it's better than a 5. It's like we used to have a residency at Ravensbourne University with Tolhuistuin, and they said 92% of our graduates go on to employment within 6 months. To me, that was too high, and it sort of, you know, it kind of you know, an art school should have a lower employment, you know, sort of success rate, because that basic.
I wouldn't want to go to that art school if it didn't have a really, because then I wouldn't rate the quality of that degree. I mean, I know it's, you know, reward for effort if you get a job because you put in effort in the program, but if the program's churning out a really low success rate, then I'd question the credibility. Yeah.
But also a high rate of people going into employment right away. Does it specify what employment? Is it working in cafes or
It doesn't, and also I think it's kind of like you want people going to art school to go out of the system. You don't want them to, you know, just get a job straight away. You want them to actually. Well, I do because.
Okay, so maybe your rating is just a bit should be a bit low now in comparison to the kind of global standards. I mean,
Do you want to turn out really tortured, struggling artists, Vincent van Gogh, like slashing off ears, dying early?
Yeah, all the body parts. Yeah. I mean, anything.
Yeah, the ear's been done. I mean, imagine if then they amputate their index finger, so they can't scroll on social media anymore.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that's like a solution.
Maybe
right?
we need to bring that in. Also, I'd like to draw your attention to something that shocks me: the size of this yacht. I don't know. I mean, this is. Get the camera on it, Mikey. This is absolute.
That's like a floating COVID bubble in and of itself, right?
This is one of the COVID things.
That's where it started.
That's how. That's
maybe
exactly
this is the new. Maybe this is the new variant, just docking in Amsterdam, right? The Ventura variant.
Yes. I mean, rolls of the tongue is highly memeable. It's just like a massive block of flats just rolling past. That's kind of what's happening. We are catching it live. There's people waving, and actually they're not waving. They're just observing us. Should they be waving?
What you're about to get into. Yeah. I mean, if they were waving, it would make it more meme-worthy, but it kind of ties into the whole tortured COVID feeling really shitty, unwell feeling.
Also, who's watching who?
Exactly. Are we like in a zoo, and they're just like this rolling cruise group checking us out?
Yeah, I mean, like, what is going on here? I mean, this is kind of what we're talking about right now. Have you seen this yacht behind you? It's not a block of flats. Have you seen it? Have you ever seen something this huge?
No.
No, come and tell us about it. This is Pop-Up Talk Show about cruise ships. Is Ventura P&O Cruises? Where they're cruising to? Should we rate them down for obliterating our view of the central station?
Definitely. I mean, is there any pollution that they're affecting us with right now? Are they cruising because they're socially conscious travelers, or are they, deliberately participating in climate change?
Absolutely. Is it a middle finger to the climate change? I mean, should all these people be kind of verified by the employers? Be like, I saw you actually cruising on a
Is like going up by the minute.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Because actually, we don't care if you're polite. We just care whether you're good for the planet, and you just shown that you.
I mean, I think it's more like the other way around, because it's also like, in a way, the ratings thing doesn't really tell us who's got the power, and the system's never gonna downrate people like that on the yacht over people just on their bikes transporting in a more, what I would call a more normal way. But I'm just shocked at the size of that thing. It's just
sorry,
like,
I had to stop the show to some extent. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, that was massive.
Okay, so I mean, there's a big white yacht in the room, which it's just very hard to kind of really kind of see past this. I've just lost my thread. I mean, speechless.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
speechless.
okay, so Casey, just explain to you the way Tolhuistuin works is obviously, I think you figured it out quite well by now. Okay. But also, we can change the direction of the conversation at any point. I mean, I'm slightly dumbfounded by this yacht. I'm still processing that, obviously. But I mean, we still want, like, do we want to stay on the subject of the rating? Is rating equal for everyone?
Let's reframe.
With me? Oh, no,
well, let's reframe the problem. I've only been talking about it from an issue-rated perspective. Maybe there are some positive things that we need to be looking at and talking about, from the massive amounts of data that are being generated and how AI could be used for good, and maybe how we could train systems to be unbiased faster than we can change humans to, lose their biases, and how would we do that?
Okay, and could this yacht be some kind of like a meme material for getting this message across, representing the vast majority of data?
Yeah, so let's look at it from an irony-related perspective, right? We're all worried about climate change and the threat to the planet, and everything's getting really hotter, and then this massive cruise ship comes and blocks out the sun. I mean, that's like an anti-problem. That solved it for a moment. We cooled down, and they're not traveling in as maybe damaging ways for the planet.
Yeah, maybe it's not as bad as it kind of looks, yeah?
I mean, it sort of reminds me, we started off talking about the very, very first thing at MozFest was, is it not, rather than artificial intelligence, is it not human stupidity? Come and join.
Yeah. I like that. Well, that's really good. So,
okay, no, I'll finish my point then.
Finish your point.
And I'm wondering if this is a bit like that kind of the archetypal ship of fools, where what they used to do in the old days is they used to put all the crazy people, to get rid of them, they used to just put them on a ship, and it was the ship of fools. But in a way, what we're doing here is we're taking all the rich people, and we're actually filtering them out of our city by putting them onto a ship, and off they go.
That was quite a good experience there. I mean, have you seen, first of all, this is Tolhuistuin. Second of all, have you seen this massive yacht that was just like,
Yes.
And thirdly, what is your name? My name is Margaret, this is Mikey, this is Casey, this is Tolhuistuin, it's a pop-up talk show. You're welcome to join if you wish. We're just kind of refreshing this. It's a pop-up talk show. You can be on it. You can put your Apple here. So we've got Mikey, we've got Casey. My name is Margot. What's your name?
Yosha.
Yosha
and Claudio.
Claudio, welcome. So at this moment we're talking about vast majorities of data. What are we actually doing with it? Is it a problem? Should we be looking at solutions? Could memes, memes that people look at on social media, could they help breaking down the message so your ordinary person who doesn't know much about data or MozFest, never heard of it, they can get on board with this, so we can have a more kind of open and democratic society? I'm just going to kind of say it like that. And then we have been talking about, loads of things, even like Uber ratings. Could we extend that a little bit more to our behaviors? Can we rate? Can we rate each other? Would that be helpful, or would it just show that some people can play the game and some people don't? And would you like to live your life where your free will is just somewhere down there, you don't worry about it because AI has kind of planned out the life for you, and it's a really brilliant life? but you don't get to make any choices because it's all made for you. So really, this is it. We've got some books from MozFest. Yeah, we're talking about, do people actually even read books anymore? And this is it. There you go. That's for you. Congratulations. Yeah.
Swag T-shirt over there. Does anyone want a T-shirt?
Yeah, I want a T-shirt.
Yeah,
okay, so Casey's going to be on a case with the T-shirts. So yeah. But essentially, it's up to you to decide on the direction of the conversation. Any views? Any thoughts?
That was a lot of information.
I know. I'm sorry about this. I could just slow down. I'm just hyped up as well.
So many topics to discuss.
Yeah. What are you guys doing in this kind of vicinity? What are you doing here?
Just really also getting inspiration and getting out of like my regular line of work, which is connected to this. Like I work for a company where we help companies trace their product from farm to fork and see how farmers can also get a living income. But there's a lot to learn still on digital inclusion in that sense, and also how digitization actually affects these kind of processes. And I'm particularly interested in how it could also, like the ownership of the data, how it can be more personally owned. So how is it possible that farmers get access to their own data and actually are able to share what they, on their own they decide who can actually have access to what. But this, difficult.
This is very interesting. And also, do farmers want to get hold of their data? What are they going to do with it? Do they know how to handle the data? Are they going to grow it? Yeah, no.
Yeah, not yet. And that's the thing. There's just questions on what you actually want and need, and but now at the moment there's no choice.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Thank you for this. And for yourself, what are you doing here? Is it anything to do with from farm to fork? Are you in any way connected to data? Are you just a passerby? Did you just step out of this yacht? We don't know.
No, not really. I'm with a privacy first T-shirt. You can guess. I came from the NGO sector, and we analyze the companies to keep them accountable.
Yeah.
And,
how is that going?
Well, there are a lot of things that they are doing bad, so there is a lot of room for improvement. Then the fact that they change, or they change only when they get fines, that is the cultural problem. The fact that privacy, security, accountability are not embedded in the culture, because it's a culture which we have to deliver the product first and the things to the responsibility later. That is the point to be changed. Before you mentioned Uberization and the rating.
I like that word, Uberization. Yeah.
Well, that's the Uberization is used when you start to assume that every sector of the life can be split in your boss is an app, and we expect also that one, and they are the worst at the moment. Because a lot of fights in the past were to reivindicate labor rights, and at the moment those have been completely overridden by new term of service, a new way to optimize, and that is how progress should not work. Because it's not that you can delete the past and forget about your duties as an employer and ignore what should be respected.
But before I come to you, Mike, is there something? Don't sulk. You've had enough to say. Yeah, we've got new people, but Thank you very much. No, but I'm just interested. Like, okay, so Uber is getting with Uberization. Uber is getting a lot of stick, but could Uber be helpful in getting from farm to fork, delivering data? Is there?
You could, but people talk about the badness of Uberization. I actually think that Uber has done, and all these other things, is kind of gig economy type apps, have actually done a lot of really good things as well that people here don't appreciate that much. Like, I think, for me, it's improved my life quite a lot, because I can't afford London taxi cabs, but I can definitely afford Uber. The Uber drivers, actually, I can speak from authority because I've got a 5.0 rating on Uber. The drivers actually, because I talk to the drivers, they love the Uber. They prefer Bolts, but it does a lot. Even our neighbour that is next to us in our studio just drives to work, and he turns his Uber app on and gives somebody a lift from Leighton to Poplar, and then they can, rather than just going to work, he's actually making some money just driving to work. That's
okay. The fact that they're gig economy and they don't get any contribution to the superannuation, or they're not, if there's an accident, they're not covered. Like, I think there are more ethical related challenges to the gig economy in general, and Uber's making a fuck ton of money that isn't maybe being distributed well enough to the people actually doing the work for them.
I mean, from the kind of philosophical point of view, if you're doing something good for the planet and you're giving somebody a lift to your workplace, doesn't really matter that you're not covered with a health insurance or anything like that. I mean, you're just doing a good thing in general. I mean, does it really matter? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like another good thing. What I've seen within Uber is really the safety of like if women, if you're alone in a car, like you can track which car you're in. I remember when I traveled in Nairobi before Uber, it was like you can only call this taxi company, and now it's like, okay, you know who's coming, you know what rating they have, how many drivers they've done, you know their photo and their name. So that kind of security and safety I really appreciate. But I agree there should be more guidelines also on like what should be the basic minimum that should be there for an Uber driver as well, because like, you know, prices of gas are going up, but the prices of Uber, are they actually going up? Like, are they able to make a living? And especially also the people, what you were saying, it's not only Uber, but it's also these other companies that are like renting out these cars for drivers, and really like that's a high price, and they need to pay that off by doing a certain amount of trips, and it's super difficult. Yeah.
Okay.
Same as like Deliveroo and some of the food delivery services. Like I know for a fact here in Amsterdam, people are getting licenses to do that, and there's like 5 or 6 guys registered under that same name, and they're almost working in some kind of like urban slavery situation where I think that's a really poor example of how a platform and a technology can be exploited and used to exploit people that don't have other choices.
Okay, so right now we've got a fresh face to the table, even though it's a familiar face. Give us your name.
Hi, Margaret. Hi, Jibu here.
Oh yeah, Tibu.
Thank you. I want to say that many of the... I have to say my name.
Say your name because, so everybody knows everyone, because I just forgot everyone. Claudio. Josje.
Mikey.
Casey.
And as you rightly say, my name is Margot. But yeah, right now talking about Uberization and safety and Deliveroo is actually just really exploitative slavery model, yes.
No, I see that there are positive aspects, but those positive aspects depends on the fact that we are finally connected. All the person have a device and they can stay coordinated together. Even Facebook has been positive somehow, but now nobody is going to defend it. So the issue is not acknowledging the good stuff, is that we should aim for the better, for the best.
And how do you do this? Yes.
Oh yeah, I wanted to say it's also interesting because reputations change. You know, like within tech companies, like I work for a non-profit as well, and like 10 years ago it was really cool to work with Facebook. You know, they were really cool, and then suddenly like, nope, you're on the blacklist now, your reputation is done. So as a non-profit, there's also a big reputational risk to work with these companies, and it's so difficult on how to shift it and like starting with transparency and then saying, okay, but are you willing to change? That should be nice instead of just pushing and saying no and then blacklisting them. Yeah.
Okay, so how do we move forward? I mean, like, so some companies, they just kind of like drop off their kind of respectable radar really quickly. I mean, Thibaut, do you work with Facebook? I mean, are there any kind of like, no. Why not? It could be a nice creative challenge.
I know people, I mean, like maybe who are acquaintances or friends who works on Facebook, Meta, and I know it's like the first thing I feel, I'm not...
This final thought.
I don't want to be judgmental here, but I'm talking from a personal standpoint of view. The first thing I feel is, you're doing it for money. Like, what drives you? I mean, come on, I can't... I mean, even if they say they will pay me $1 million, I can't work for Mark. That face just put me off.
Okay, so is it about his
and all the actions that has come to that face? Like, look, I mean, look at the ethics they have. They have no ethics. Like, it's like back in those days, Google had this motto, don't be evil. I think Facebook seems to be like, be evil all the time, right? Yeah. They changed the name, they tried the metaverse.
But it's just like, buying into... But I mean, like, you're going to be going, Claudia, but give us a final thought. But also, you just kind of made me think of this idea of like, what... So, okay, even if somebody gave you $1 million, you wouldn't work for them. Is it just a waste of money that could be spent somewhere? I don't know. Like, are we really not motivated by money? Just something I'm thinking right now on the back of what you were saying. But you're going. We'll be sad to see you go. But give us a final thought about any of what we discussed. Something brand new. Anything.
Yeah. Imagine labor unions should start to do with their technical skills analysis on how those app works. Because if the app is retaining power, then they are the one close to a worker, and they can mediate and help also companies to do better. That is what I hope, and also what I'm helping to happen.
Okay, I mean, is there really a real possibility of that happening with for smaller companies who maybe don't have a budget to kind of have that kind of, I don't know, that branch?
Labor union, trade union.
the unions,
So yeah,
okay.
like there are few per nation. They are enough to have this kind of a skill set, or eventually stay with a consultant that help them to understand what is happening behind the scene of a black screen.
Okay, so more of that. Yeah, thank you very much for this. Claudia, you're welcome to go and come back. You know, we're going to be here. Mikey?
I mean, once again, on the first day, we talked about who is in control of this technology, and maybe public institutions. I mean, Claudia has mentioned unions. I mean, wouldn't it be great if unions actually took the initiative and Uberized their employees in a way where they were in control of the app rather than a big company in San Francisco, you know, and if they had already pre-Uberized the taxi system, it would have been much better than if it was run by Uber, and they could still potentially do that and have a competitor app.
I think this kind of comes back to the whole like cookie consent law, for example. There's an informed consent where as an employee or a gig worker in one of these kinds of different platforms, that at least if you're aware of the fact of what the risks are, and even if you're not going to go through the 400-page consent forms or terms and conditions, that somebody's at least championing for you to say, hey, it's all good, no issues of you just driving people on your way to work and whatever things that you want to do, but just understand there are a couple of key things. If you're in an accident, we're not going to support you. You're not going to get any superannuation contributions. And if our profits increase because of whatever, that doesn't necessarily mean that your fee is going to increase as what you're being paid as a driver. Then you're at least going, okay, well, hang on a minute.
I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it anyway because I'm desperate. Click on the cookie consent form or whatever the equivalent is, but that there's this informed consent notion and somebody's championing on behalf of the risks and benefits, and that you're just at least aware of what you're getting yourself into.
Okay, so maybe it's a bit of transparency, letting people actually choose and make it easy for them to choose and understand what are they subscribing to.
I mean, there is actually, in the UK anyway, there's actually a Uber drivers union, which I found out because I talked to the Uber drivers. But you know, in a way, it doesn't make any sense why they even need Uber if they've got a union. Why don't they do their own, like Unta, and just do their own thing, do their own app, where they get all the profits as well?
Yeah. So I mean, is there much point of this union?
Actually, Mikey, you mentioned a very important point, right? Why can't drivers create their own Uber? Now, I will tell you what Uber and the Uber copycat in India all did in India, right? What Uber and all did, there were taxi drivers were running fine. They heavily subsidized the cost of the fare, the taxi fare. Now imagine, right, I have a $10 bill, $10 fare going from a point A to point B. What Uber did was they made it $5. So it's attractive to use Uber. Even if the taxi drivers union build an app, they won't be able to give you in $5. They can't do that. Now even if they so that $5 going to be hooked, right? And that finished up the taxi guys. They are out of business. Now it's just Uber. Now it becomes 6, 7, 10. Now it's 15.
Okay, so is it kind of like drugs?
Disrupted. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so is Uber just like a massive drug? Is it just getting us all hooked, that including the drivers themselves? And then before we know it, it's just beyond repair. I mean, is there equivalent of that in your industry?
But there are competitions from Uber. It's not Uber anymore. Uber is not. Yeah, it's you have Lyft and you have like in Indonesia you have Grab and other things. Like in Uber is like even out there because they didn't make ground. So yeah.
I want to add something to that. You are correct. There are in India there is Ola. In China there is Didi. In Southeast Asia there is Grab. All those things. But they have same investors.
Okay.
Yeah, everything is invested by SoftBank. That's the point, right? You're creating this illusion of competition.
So they're different drugs, but still the same dealer, that kind of thing. I mean, like, how can we break through this? I mean, is there a way to break through it as just like part of reality? Do we need to? Yeah.
Do we? Yeah, because what are our actual concerns with a system like this? I think it is like lack of payment for a lot of these drivers, but that's also regulations. And you were also saying, like, can government not manage these things? Well, government's just too slow at the moment within innovations, and that's the thing, they're lacking behind with all the technology that's happening. But you see slowly that things are happening. Like, I think here in the Netherlands there was also this big Deliveroo court case where they say they should be employers because you're letting them do this work. They cannot just, you have to give them healthcare, have to give them this. And a part of them love that, and a part of them also, the drivers themselves are like, no, I don't want that. I just give me that hourly money. It's better for me and for my life. So there's always benefits and disadvantages of everything.
And why do people choose that? I mean, like, what, why don't people want to choose something like a solid,
I think what was a really interesting outcome of the pandemic is how that totally shifted the labor market in certain countries. Like, for example, here in the Netherlands, what happened was a lot of people got out of hospitality because bars and restaurants were closed, so they went and re-skilled themselves in other areas. And then when the Netherlands opened up again, there was no people to come and work in bars and pubs and cafes and restaurants, and no one wanted to do it anymore because that whole notion of essential workers meant that they weren't valued and they didn't have healthcare, they weren't taken care of, they were working basically, in a lot of cases, black money under the table, and they weren't taken care of. Now imagine something like that happens again and shifts the labor market. It has dramatic impacts for people that are underprivileged, and let's face it, people doing these jobs aren't necessarily in situations where they're highly employable across a diverse range of industries. So it's, in another way, it's preying on, yes, there are perks and benefits of having a flexible workforce and making your own hours and all the rest of it, but the reason people are attracted to those jobs is because there's a limitation of other options that are open to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to Uber drivers who are actually also really happy with their work. Like here in Amsterdam, they say, I now work like 4 nights, or I work like 3 nights a week. That's perfect. The rest of the time I don't need to work now anymore. I just drive like 8 hours straight, do all these taxi drives, and they're actually happy. So I think there's a part of it which definitely is. I agree with that, but there's also a part of people who've actually found their way in this.
I question and sort of challenge that is, on a fundamental level, yes, some of these people may be more established in age. They may already own their own homes or have housing available to them, but people that don't own their own home, if they work in the gig economy, it's going to be impossible for them to be able to buy a house or to be able to stay active in the rental market in major metropolitan cities like Amsterdam and other parts of the world.
I'm going to spread it out to the third person at the table, but what do you make of this?
I mean, I really don't like Uber, but I sound like I have to extol all the virtues. Like in South Africa, Uber's done something really,
Camera's bleeping.
Oh, Uber's done something really interesting. That it's actually actually the safety standards are pretty low, and then when you get in a South African Uber, often you're like, whoa, am I going to survive this car because it's got a cracked windscreen or something like that? But what it's meant is that there was a huge amount of exploitation in South Africa because it was all about owning the car and owning the system and having the phone number, and so it meant that taxi drivers got paid really, really bad money and they couldn't progress. So now you can get hold of a really, really cheap car and anyone can do it and run their Uber service, and it means that you can actually start a business where it's really, really hard in South Africa to start any kind of business, get any kind of capital together.
And go on.
I was just going to say, to be fair, I've been doing a lot of Uber bashing and all this kind of gig economy, but I use Uber. I didn't download any of the other apps that came in to compete with Uber, even after there were some serious concerns about how they treated their employees, and there was kind of this boycott in North America.
So how do you get around them?
So I use Uber. I do. Yeah. I've been a little bit frustrated with it lately because of cancelling rides, and there just hasn't been a supply and demand that's good enough, let's say, in Amsterdam right now. But I still use Uber when I have to get a car. So I just wanted to say I'm I'm not like totally
An Uber.
Ha 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 ha! That's so funny. Do you give lift? And we've got this just ordinary person just coming in. Welcome. So we've got Casey, we've got Mikey, we've got Thibaut. I'm Margot still, and this is still Tokyoki. What is your name?
Still L, different T-shirt though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like it's almost like a different personality. Okay, so we have been talking about Uber. We have been talking about slagging Uber off, but then using it. It's okay. Virtue signaling, I think some people would call it. And then we've been talking about all sorts of things, like maybe unionizing Uber drivers. In fact, it's already happening in London, and it's actually okay, and it's working out fine. Also, it doesn't matter, they've got plurality of different carriers or driving companies available, because the investment is still the same. So it's just like being hooked on drugs, being incentivized to join Uber, because it's very cheap, and then before you know it, competition's killed off, and you're just hooked on this one thing. Anyway, so where do we want to take this conversation? We have been talking about memes as well. We have been talking about lots of things.
I would like to know what else you could Uberize, just as a
what else personally can Uberize?
Yeah, what else you would Uberize, in a way like you've got, or Airbnb-ize, because you've got Uber and Airbnb, but what other sort of market sectors?
Okay, we've got some ideas.
Tools.
What do you mean?
Like if you've got a drill or a chainsaw and you just need to do a quick job around the house, you could go onto this platform and rent from your neighbour.
Does that exist already?
There's a thing that already exists, I think in Hackney in London.
Oh, serious?
It's like a library for tools.
Okay, library of things, yeah.
So what from all these things, I'm just sharing my personal perspective here, is that every idea is a noble idea, right? Like, okay, you are going from, let's say, speaking about the UK, you're going from, let's say, London to Birmingham, and you're driving a lot. Yeah, if somebody else wants a lift, we can provide it, and if they chip in for the gas price, that will be a best thing. So that's where the idea of ride sharing comes from, right? Like similarly, instead of getting your neighbor's tool, right? That's what I do. You created this. The moment you put Silicon Valley brains into it and the investment into it, it turns out to be something evil. That's a phenomenal way of doing it. Even Airbnb, right? Yeah, you have a spare bedroom, rent it out.
I mean, should we have some kind of like Silicon Valley extermination program, something like that? Just kind of remove that element from kind of ideas, or kind of prevent with some laws in place. It's like, okay, it's an idea, but if you're from Silicon
VC firm that only venture capital that they are investing, and you have to have like this great reputation of only having worked at great companies, built great cultures where people really rated you as a leader, and therefore you're able to go and advise and fund these new ideas that don't end up becoming evil, like all the other stuff we've been talking about.
Okay, so kind of like tracing back people's kind of history.
Reputational investments.
Yeah, but what would be the questions?
Investment.
Okay, so what kind of questions would be on this kind of questionnaire? Because, as we were saying, you can sometimes just be really good at playing the kind of the review game.
Single-use plastics. Like it's even got to go down to your daily behavior of how you're positively contributing to society.
Okay, so do you use use plastics? That could be one of the.
I did on Monday because we went to.
You don't have. It's not a questionnaire going live. It's not a question. We're building the questionnaire.
Oh right, I see. Right.
Yeah, it's okay. We don't want to know.
Okay, so what's the question then?
So the question is like, if we were to devise some kind of questionnaire for tracking people
for being socially good.
Yeah, for being socially good. Do you ask people about single-use plastic?
But I will give you my word on Uber. I'm gonna go on the public transport.
Are you gonna go on Uber?
I'm taking the public transport.
Okay, well, good. That's it. That's your final thought. Thibaut, leave your contact details and maybe see you at the next MozFest. Just put it there. Okay, so single-use plastic, that's important. I mean, are you evil? I don't know. If they say yes, then you give them good points.
I mean, for me, obviously I'm conversationally biased, but I would be like, do you say hello to people? Do you engage, with people? That would be it for me. Do you talk to your
Uber driver? Even though you're very tired and maybe even hungover. Yeah. Do you make an effort?
Yeah.
Okay, that's another one. Do you say hi to your neighbors? Elle, what other kind of questions would help us decide whether somebody's like an ethical investor, for instance?
Do you have any pets, and how do you treat them?
How do we test how they treat them? Because I treat them really well.
Do you give your pets birthday presents? Do they get Christmas presents? Are they a part of the family, or are they like pets / tools / guard dogs?
Okay, so something about the pets as well, how they relate to animals. I guess that's
keep houseplants alive.
Well, I would be definitely not doing well in this.
Yesterday we were talking about. Apparently now there's a technology for your own houseplant to do a personalized podcast.
Yes.
Like your plants could talk about you when you're not there.
Kind of, that's the next level.
Imagine we could create AI that could assess the health of the plant and therefore converse on behalf of the plant to like talk about and maybe for animals too, right? I mean, you can judge the the wag of a dog's tail to determine how happy they are.
So wag to speech kind of AI.
Yeah, wag to speech. It's an advocacy app. I think that was what we're talking about. Advocacy apps that actually advocate for avocados, but other vegetables and plants and animals and immaterial objects as well.
I know.
Or material objects, not immaterial, and immaterial objects too.
Based on one of the talkies that we did yesterday, where cucumbers, I know what cucumber would say. In the cucumber to
speak. Yes. If your vegetables in your fridge could speak about how well you're taking care of yourself and them, and whether you've contributed to the food waste problem because you're throwing food away. I mean, that's another reputational.
Yeah, but what about this? Like, what about all the good foods that you should be eating? They are just there. They've got the full platform and all that kind of like crisps and things. They're not there to make the case because they're eaten.
Pretty much every week I buy a broccoli and then it goes yellow and I put it on the compost heap. But I'm wondering if the broccoli app would prefer that, or would it prefer to be eaten?
Keep the broccoli alive, or keep the broccoli...
How does the broccoli... What's the broccoli's...
What kind of waste does the broccoli want to become? Like human waste or fertilizer? Is becoming fertilizer a more virtuous... use of your time than human waste.
Yeah, is it better for the planet? Should that be rewarded with more points? I mean, obviously pets. I mean, what do you think about this kind of? I mean, can we get a bit more kind of specific about what we could do with this information from pets? What does it tell us about human behavior?
Well, if you're on a dating site and you've got photos with pets, and like when I was on a dating site, if I saw someone with pets, be like, yeah, that's like an instant plus in my book. And like just have a chat, like how do they treat their pets?
Yeah.
Do they actually love them, or do they just get them for like
when
Tinder
you go
clout?
Yes, exactly. But when you go on a date, would you expect the pet to be there present as well, so you can do your own assessment? Yeah, interview.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So keep it kind of.
I had a friend who wanted to go on a dating website, and for him, he didn't normally use power tools, but was using a power tool. And he thought that would be...
That would attract other people.
That would attract, the kind of people that he was looking...
Which power tool did he go for?
It was, something... not a chainsaw, no.
Something. This is like an advertisement for an axe murderer.
Okay, so maybe not a chainsaw, but like what other kind of things in dating pictures?
It was an electric drill. Oh,
that's a bit...
But to be honest, he wasn't really looking... no offence, but he wasn't really looking for people like you to date with, but it's like he wanted to be a bit more kind of macho, overalls, power tools.
Maybe he could come across, if he had a picture of his fridge, maybe he'd come across more macho. Sorry, I'm on a bit of a roll. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like, what other things we should be photographing ourselves with, just to kind of get that extra credibility, more kind of dateability? What kind of data do we want to include in our dating profiles?
If somebody's cooking in the kitchen,
and you want a picture of that, that will help you want to date them.
Yeah. Somebody that can cook, not just take photos of food, but then they're like a useful person to date, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to date someone who can't cook.
Okay, so how do you show your usefulness to your future partner? Is cooking one of those things? You can come and join us. We're just talking about you taking a picture of this talking table. Yeah, turning us into a meme.
Mimifying.
Would we make a good meme?
Probably.
Thank you very much. That's good. I take that. So this is Tokyoki. It's a pop-up talk show. We just talk about all sorts of things. We're just talking about what does your fridge tell the other person about you. I mean, are there any kind of power tools that are good to be photographed with whilst dating online? We have been talking also about Uber ratings and is Uber actually an ethical company because they've got a union in London. And all sorts of things.
I think it's kind of interesting because you could probably tell a lot about a person from the state of their fridge, can't you?
Can you?
So in a way,
you agree?
I'm the guy with the yellow broccoli. All I've got in my fridge is some mayo and some blueberries.
But is it the Amsterdam mayo?
No, I've never got beer in my fridge because it doesn't last in the fridge. That gets used.
But meanwhile, we've got a new person joining the table. We've got Mikey, we've got Casey, we've got Elle. I'm Margot, and this person also may be joining, but no. Come and join us if you wish. It's just a talk show. It's harmless. And what's your name?
Eliana.
Eliana, welcome back. It feels like a lot of time has passed since we last had you on the Tokyoki table. These are the conversations right now. You can probably tell this is the last day of MozFest, the state of us. We've got some t-shirts coming out and some books and some people. Come and join us for a few seconds. Why not? Ilyana has got a t-shirt. You've not been on Tokyoki table, so come and sit here for a second. We're just doing a round of names. We've got Casey, we've got Ellie, we've got Ilyana. Thank you very much. We've got, what's your name?
L for you. I'm Tan.
Tan, welcome Tan. And?
I'm Livy. Hi.
Livy and?
Have you got any large t-shirts, Mikey?
Yes, we certainly do.
Hey.
Okay.
Oh, large.
Yeah.
Are these t-shirts? Have they been printed ethically?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ilyana, just slip that one in. What is ethical? Anybody can answer that? Yeah, Casey? Oh, no, nothing. You just happy to talk about
the
fridge.
cotton been grown ethically? Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, all the materials you'll find are either recycled or they have been grown ethically by ethical farmers.
Okay. Are you convinced, Ilyana?
Absolutely not.
Okay. What would convince you?
Seeing the life process of the production of this t-shirt. I need to see it to believe it.
Okay, so should MozFest start actually months before or years before by taking people out onto these kind of like tours of how the cotton is grown, how the paper is sourced, how the data is sourced, and then if people feel still convinced, come and join the conference.
I think not only are they ethically printed, but they're printed in Essex.
Say that last bit.
Sorry, they're printed in Essex. They're ethically printed.
Oh dear. Essex isn't an ethical part of England. Is the name just slightly, do you say definitely not? Are you familiar with Essex?
I'm very familiar with Essex.
What's your relationship with Essex?
I grew up in a part of East London and then moved to Southwest London, but East London for me is a swamp. Whereabouts?
Okay, strong views.
Yeah.
Please tell us, what makes you think that?
I just think that it's almost a different part of London, to be honest. It should be
East.
Yeah, that part of the world should actually be cut off. It should be an island of its own.
Okay, so East London. I did not expect that in Amsterdam during MozFest we'll be discussing Hackney and neighbouring boroughs of East London as Essex bashing. What's worse, East London or Essex?
Well, to be honest, I wouldn't choose to go there on holiday, put it that way.
Okay.
My parents live in East London and I love going on holiday to their house.
Okay. Do they have any pets?
Yes, they have a dog and they're looking after my cat.
Okay. Well, apparently Essex and cats sells well, according to some book people. But what are your views on this? Essexly sourced, yeah.
What are my views?
Would be good to get your feedback on. If we were talking about bringing more ethics to how venture capital is distributed and to try to bring better controls into Silicon Valley so that not every company or any company is basically becoming super evil with what they do with data and people and so on. And we wanted to have a checklist to rate these founders or people that are investing money, what should be on that checklist. One of the answers we got is how well they treat their dog, what they have in their fridge, really deep, what do they say hi to their neighbors? Do they chat with their Uber driver?
Yeah.
What should be on that checklist? What's the
What are the giveaways that somebody's a good
What's the
person?
measure of a good person? Yeah.
Yeah, Ileana.
I think what type of water they drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Expand. I mean, which water is good to drink?
I think Buxton is pretty good.
Buxton.
Yeah, Evian not so much. No
Is
offense.
it the branding? Is it Evian because it spells naive backwards? It's
Wow. Now that I think about it, no. It's just it tastes horrible.
It's horrible. Okay.
Tap I don't mind, but also I'm like risking it by drinking East London tap water, I would say, as someone would say.
Right, someone unnamed. But okay, so is person drinking the finest, the most delicious water? Should they get high rating for that, or should they get low rating because they're too snobbish? Maybe they should be drinking pond water.
Single-use plastics.
Oh yeah, that was one of your questions. Yeah.
Still or sparkling as well. It's a
Okay,
big thing,
how
like-
is sparkling doing on that?
Not great.
Yeah.
I don't trust people that drink sparkling water.
Yeah, well, fair enough. Me neither.
I love sparkling water.
Well, I mean, any other?
Why?
Yeah, tell us.
Because it's got sodium, magnesium, and it's enriched with, like, through the carbonation process, your body absorbs the water much better than it does plain water. So I switched over to sparkling water for that reason. It's like
Okay,
nutrition.
Ellie is going. I mean, Ellie, do you get sparkling water in East London when you visit your parents? Or is it a bit of a whoa?
Yes, I do. And I'm a super ethical person because I'm about to go take the Eurostar.
Hey, I think you're gonna walk with like your whole kind of like rucksack. You've got this kind of, I'm going for a long walk kind of vibe. But listen, you have been brilliant, and you have been on the Stokyoki table, and obviously involved in MozFest for the duration. Have you got any final thoughts for us? Any thoughts, parting comments, messages to the world? Yeah.
It's just so nice to be here after the pandemic. We were hoping to have a proper MozFest in 2020, but then the panini happened. Hopefully, we'll be back here soon, and hopefully we'll be back here for a really, really big MozFest. I can't wait.
Well, fantastic. Maybe this is just a beginning. And could MozFest be MozFest? Just to keep it a little bit more ethical and green. I don't know, it's just like a little thing. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a safe journey on Eurostar and enjoy being ethical.
MozFest wouldn't be MozFest without volunteer looting. I don't want that.
Absolutely, yeah. Just put this away from her. She's had enough. Happy journeys. Okay, right. Yeah, bye. So we just before Ellie gave us her final thought, we've been slagging off sparkling water. So okay, so you gave us some arguments why it's so good. It's the kind of mineral content, but you wouldn't trust a person who likes sparkling water. So obviously these two people, you know, imagine they're not there. I'm indifferent, but I think I prefer still water. Just kind of build a bridge there with you. Yes. What's the issue with sparkling water?
I respect it. I like the fact that you know why you consume it, but I do think it's also a control thing because you know that. Like when you're drinking water from a lake, as we used to, you wouldn't know magnesium and it's got like a loop. But I think that's my issue. Like you have to justify liking it.
But that's the same with bottled water. Isn't tap water even better than drinking directly from a lake?
Okay.
And it's still, right?
The brands that you named were like brands of bottled water, so technically you could just drink tap water and I could judge you.
Sorry, 1 second. What is this?
Hexagonal. Kind of kaleidoscope.
What is this?
It's a kaleidoscope for filming in a hexagon kind of thing.
Does it give a psychedelic kind of feel to the...
Is it trippy kind of filming?
Yeah, kind of. I can show you.
Is it ethical what you're doing, filming in this way?
Of course.
Are you mimifying this? Because we really want to be mimified here.
No, it's actually more effect like this. So if you film something, you get all kind of reflections in the mirror.
Amazing.
Yeah, isn't it?
Okay, yeah, that's it. That's all I really wanted to know. But you're welcome to join this talk show, by the way. We're talking about sparkling water. Yeah, okay, well, film us. We at the moment we're just having one-on-one, just talking about sparkling water. But actually, the question was: is it about having control? Is it about okay, I know why sparkling water is good for me, or this is not good for me, and you know, by listing all the benefits, all the knowledge you have about the subject, are you just kind of holding on to power and you kind of power tripping a bit?
No, I like sparkling drinks a lot, even though then I don't think they're particularly good for me. But I find flat drinks a bit flat.
Yeah. But they will go down well in the Netherlands, surely.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody was listening. That's good.
Oh no, I got it.
Yeah.
That was a local joke.
I was doing it to you and to Ileana, not to you, Mikey. Okay, so flat drinks, are they a bit too flat? Are they just taking out the kind of the fun element of life? I mean, what gives, okay, so you don't like bubbles in the water. Where do you like bubbles, metaphorically speaking?
I like. We're maybe back on the same team.
Okay, so after all, Team Champagne is in agreement, which is obviously nice. But what is this phenomenon? Okay, so apart from knowing what's inside of the sparkling water, what are the other benefits? Like, why is it? Why do we have this differentiation? Why do people choose champagne over something else?
It's just more bubbles and more fun. That's just it. It's more fun.
More fun? Is this true?
Depends on what your idea of fun is.
And what is your idea of fun, Ileana?
Showering. I like to be clean. I listen
Showering?
to music. Yeah.
Okay,
Self-care.
at the same time?
Yeah.
Do you listen to music coming from your shower? Like, is it flow of water?
Mm-hmm. And then like a nice moisturizer, just a vibe.
Okay.
Chill. In this heat, that's what a cold shower. Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay, cold shower. Like Team Champagne, how are you doing with cold shower? What is fun to you? We know.
On the topic of ethics, do you time how much time you spend in the shower, and are you using water ethically? If we want to really go...
Okay, so we are talking about ethics of taking shower. Is it justified? Is cleanliness just some kind of...
I think if you're having a cold shower, I would rate that more because you're using less energy to warm the water, so that's like a cool thing.
Is it cold Buxton water though, or is it some kind of...
Never bottle.
Okay, okay. Mikey, do you shower ever?
No, I like to have a bath every morning.
A bath?
Yeah. It's a lot of water use, but yeah.
A man who admits to bathing in a bath, because that's very stereotypically not something that you would hear a lot of men. Do you have bubbles and a rubber ducky as well? How far does your experience go?
Do you bath? I don't know.
I do both. I don't have a rubber ducky though.
Okay, what do you have in your bath?
Actually, nothing.
Not bubbles?
Oh, I have like magnesium salt crystals.
Oh, here we go again. Back to the magnesium. Back to the Mendeleev's table. Okay,
She has magnesium salt crystals. That's my final thought.
Okay. Should that question be on the questionnaire? Are you using magnesium? Are you overusing magnesium in your life? Would that be a good indicator if somebody's a good person?
She looks great for it, so maybe she's onto something.
So maybe it's okay. Okay. All right. Hello and welcome. Do you shower or do you take a bath?
Bath.
Bath. Why? Why not shower?
Because
Come closer. Come closer. Say it on the mic.
I can stay longer.
Okay. Okay. What about yourself? Do you take a shower or you bath?
I shower.
You shower. Okay. And what about? Are they quick showers or they long showers?
Long one.
Long showers. Okay. Welcome. At the moment, we're talking about bathing or showering. Do you take a bath or do you shower?
Shower.
And why?
I don't have a bed.
Okay, that's fair enough. But the reason why we ended up talking about this is, by the way, grab a seat if you wish. This is a Talkie, it's a pop-up talk show. At the moment, we've got Casey, we've got Mikey. My name is Margot. What's your name?
Niala.
Niala.
Ivan.
Aiden. Come and join us. Grab a seat over here and give us your name.
Aoife,
nice to meet you. So the reason why we were talking about showering or bathing is because we were talking about what do people do for fun. Some people drink sparkling water as opposed to flat water for fun because it's more fun. What do you guys do for fun? Mikey, what do you do for fun?
I just make things, I think.
Make things?
Make things, yeah.
What kind of things do you make?
I need an idea, and then right now I'm trying to make a pop-up podcasting booth.
Right. How's that going?
Not so well.
Okay. So Mikey likes to make things. What should he be making next? Any ideas? What is there in the world? What's missing? Ivan?
I don't know.
What should Mikey be making?
What's missing is maybe more... I have to think about it.
Okay, we'll come back to you. And come and join us if you wish. This is a pop-up talk show. So what do people do for fun? That's one of the questions. Mikey likes to make things for fun. But what should he be making? What should he be making next? What's your name?
Eastwood.
Eastwood and
Aymar.
Aymar, welcome. And yeah, so this is Tokyo. Come and join us if you wish. Grab a seat and give us your name.
Jamie.
Jamie, welcome. So right now we're talking about what do people do for fun. You drink champagne for fun, and you drink sparkling water for fun. Okay, what do you do for fun?
I do stunts.
Stunts. What kind of?
The Arabier and the Ratslag.
Say it again.
The Arabier and I do the Ratslag.
Okay, you may have to demonstrate this to us because.
He needs a cartwheel. He needs a cartwheel.
Cartwheel?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a difficult thing to do? I mean, is cartwheel actually fun or is it a bit dangerous? Yeah? Okay. Okay, go. Okay, go. Go for it. Wait. Wow, that was pretty good. Can you do this, Casey?
I cannot.
Okay. Would you like to learn how to do it?
Maybe not today because I'm wearing a dress, but I'd be open to it with a little bit of preparation.
Okay, we'll give you some heads up. Okay, so doing cartwheels is one of the things that people do for fun. What do you do for fun?
I just draw things.
Draw things. What's the last thing you drew?
I draw water. Just water.
Really? Okay. Okay, so I mean, because it's quite a different thing drawing a bottle with water in it, or just trying to draw water. I mean, how do you kind of do it? I mean, do you have any tips if Casey wanted to draw water or a bottle of water? What should she be doing?
She should make a cute shape. What you can do with your bottle. You can just choose every single shape you want.
Okay, so just pay attention to what the shape is, try to recreate it somehow. We've got some new people around the table. What's your name?
Huh?
What is your name?
Tobian.
Tobian, welcome. And some more people. Okay, fine. Right, so drawing, champagne, making things, cartwheels. What do you do for fun?
Frog Creek.
What's that? Okay, show us. Okay. Whoa. It's an upside down frog kind of thing. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's pretty cool. I mean, how long did it take you to learn this?
School.
2 years? 2 minutes, maybe?
2 months. 2 weeks.
Was it easy?
Yes.
It was easy. Okay. So it's easy. So again, when you're wearing shorts as a There we are. We're back. We're back in the game. Okay. So who else is here doing any kind of dancing? Do you do dancing?
Dancing.
Oh yeah. What do you do for fun?
For fun, I like reading books.
Really?
Reading.
Right. Okay. What kind of books do you like reading? Because before you guys came here, we were hearing from people who have a bookshop.
And
they said no one reads
I make books too.
Okay.
This is my merch.
Okay. So are they your own books?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of books? Like, what are the stories in your books?
It's about one is about a cat who finds his his toy, jumps on it, but falls then on a road where a car comes his way. He jumps on the car, and the car goes to the desert. Further,
Adventure.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
And the one with a troll that has a house in the middle of the woods, and 2 kids who found that out.
Okay, so we've got a story about the troll, and we also have got a story of a cat who loses his toy, and then the car kind of comes in, and it just gets a bit, complicated from then on. But this is your actual, this is your merch. Okay, that's fantastic. But this is really great. Do people actually read books? Yeah. Okay, what books do you read? And I'll come to you.
Gaming.
Gaming. And what's the last book that you've been reading? What kind of game what was described there?
It was about somebody that calls Whiskit. Always he's going to a place to play a VR game, and then he's in something like a world, And then you have to play things to get money, but then game money.
Okay, so books about gaming and kind of getting some more money, just to kind of keep going. Yeah, you said I will come to you in a second. Yeah.
My dad just make books.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just to learn Suriname.
Okay, so your dad actually makes. Does he write the books?
Yeah, he write it and he just make it himself.
Okay, I mean, does he make many books or?
He just made 5 books. One, just that you can make fun thing, and just 4 books.
Okay, so making books. I mean, has anybody here made their own book? Obviously, you write your own stories. That's clear. But have you ever made a book? Yeah, Ivan.
Yeah, I made a book.
What did you use to make a book? What did you make books from?
Paper and pencils.
Yeah?
Yeah, and that's probably it.
Okay, you really don't need much. Okay, what about yourself? What books do you read? What books have you made a book?
Oh, I made one book, but it was a pretty easy book. It was like you have to fold a paper and then you need just to read. Then you need to think what you want for your story, and then you need to write it on the paper, and then you have your own story.
Okay, so very simple.
And what book I read like it was 6 people, and they were like on a place, and they discovered it, and there was a dragon, and they hunted the dragon, and it was a very rare dragon. It was only one in the world of the dragon, and then like they were on a adventure on the temple. So
okay,
it was a very fun book.
Okay, but what is so amazing about dragons? Why would anybody like to? I mean, I love the sound of this story. Yeah.
A phoenix.
Yeah, a phoenix. Okay. Let's get specific. Casey, have you ever written a book?
No.
Would you ever like to?
Yes.
Apparently it's very simple. You only need
just
paper
need paper.
and a pencil.
Yeah, I'm really keen. Sounds good.
Okay, Mikey, have you written a book?
I think they say everyone's got one book in them, and everyone at some point in their lives wants to write a book. Not many people actually go through with it, but most people want to write a book. So it's good on Tobian that he's just got on with it.
Okay, you wanted to add something?
Well, I have to go to my class.
Okay, because you did some breakdance, right?
Yeah.
How did it go? Can you do any moves? Maybe not yet. Yeah? Okay, so give us a final thought before you go. You can say anything, but absolutely anything. Oh, Mikey's got a question for you, actually.
Is there an age limit for breakdancing? Because I'd like to learn how to breakdance. I've just done it.
Okay, so is there an age limit for breakdancing, or can anybody do it at any age?
Yeah, anyone could do it.
Anyone can do it?
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah? What do you think?
So everyone could do it, but not like you're 5 months and you can do it, but something like as you're older than 1 year, then you can do it a little bit. But as you're older than 4, then you can really learn difficult things.
Okay, so if you're 2 months old, don't try breakdance. It's probably not going to work. When you're 1 year old, your chances get better. But actually, how old are you now?
10.
10, okay. So maybe 10 years old, it's a good time to be doing breakdance, and it just goes better and better. Okay, fantastic. So, yes, do you do breakdance?
My mom just gives lessons here.
Okay.
But she's now busy with the other lesson for other kids.
Okay. So maybe, older kids get more attention when it comes to breakdance, yes?
But I was, I think 4 years old, and then I started, so...
Okay.
I don't know how great I am to say if it's too difficult what I learned, but I'm going to do a show soon, so...
Okay, so you're working on a show. I mean, can we ask everyone else, have you seen him break dance?
Yes.
How good is he?
I sit with him in the class, him in the class, and him in the class.
Is he good?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good, yeah?
Cool.
Okay.
I just wanted to say.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say it's super fun to do hip hop.
Yeah.
I'm not with them in the class. I'm with other group, and it's a younger group, and she always does that other group, and it's really fun.
Okay, so try hip hop dancing as well. But actually, I want to ask you something, people, if you don't mind. What makes somebody a good dancer? Is it the moves? Is it how long they've been learning it? Is it personality? What is it? I'm going to start here. I'm going to go round, yeah?
Practice, practice, practice.
Okay.
You just have to try it.
Okay.
You just have to send it.
Yeah.
You have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Never ever do not try, because if you do not try you can't do it. So if you just need to practice. That's why I'm going to practice at the school. So that's why him, she, him, and him is going to practice. That's why we
so
learn
for
it.
you it's both. Try it and practice. Practice, practice, practice. Yes. What makes a good dancer, do you know?
Yeah.
Can you tell us? Is it a feeling? You can just see that they are just good?
Yeah.
Lovely, thank you very much. And what makes a good dancer?
Simple.
Simple?
Yes.
Okay. Is the frog move quite an important part of being good?
Yes.
Okay. Casey, I mean, have you seen people dance? Like, what makes a good dancer?
Yourself piece. I mean, you can't top that answer. That was pretty good.
Okay,
yeah, that was
so
impressive.
believe in yourself.
Yeah.
What makes a good dancer?
Believe in you can do it. And yeah.
It kind of starts there. Just believe, have the belief. Mikey, what makes a good dancer?
Well, it's interesting because on Sunday we were doing this at the Royal Academy of Dance in London.
Oh, yeah.
And we should send them this tape because they didn't have such good answers as this.
Yeah.
So I think we should send them this video just to show them what makes a really good dancer, because they
can get
they
some
didn't come. There's some really, really good ideas there. And I really agree with the practice. I've been practicing dancing and gradually got better over 40 odd years.
But I mean, everybody's talking about dancing here, but what is dance actually for? Why do you do dancing? Shall we go around on this? Yeah.
To make fun.
To make fun?
I want to say the same.
Yeah?
Me too.
Okay. And okay, so apart from this is really fun, what other reasons are there to be doing dance? What do you get out of it?
To learn it.
To learn, yeah?
But if I learn it, it's quite fun. But if I don't learn it, it's not fun. That's why it's fun to learn it. So that's why I'm going at this dance school.
Okay.
To learn.
And do you recommend
I recommend it. So fun.
I mean, okay. And why do you dance?
It makes fun.
It's fun? Why do you
It's
dance?
cool.
It's cool. Do you dance?
Yeah, to stay fit.
Yeah? What's your favorite dance? Is it hip hop? Is it break dance? What's your favorite?
Salsa.
Salsa, okay. Why do you dance?
Yeah, it was for fun. And yeah, I wanted to be fit.
Yeah. So fitness and fun. Okay. I mean, but can you be? I mean, is it about just like repeating the same moves? Can you get creative with it?
You can get creative if you can make your own moves. You can do moves that people design. So it's just you can dance whatever you want. You can do salsa. You can do other things. You can do everything you want.
Okay.
It's dance.
So what happens when you've got two different styles in the room? People dancing salsa, people dancing hip hop, and maybe even people doing the frog thing, you know. What happens then? Do you get confused? What is the audience thinking?
You're just a little bit like who's doing who, but they don't care because they love the dancing. Just express your feeling.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a kind of like, you just don't care, you just go with it. I mean, is dance helping you in any way in other areas of your life? I mean, does doing dance help you with the story writing? Does it help you at school? Like what, dancing, what are you learning from dancing that you can use in another way as well?
I should practice.
For practice, yeah? You have to go. Okay, give us a final thought before you go. Any messages to the world? Any thoughts on dance or anything at all?
Just believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself?
You don't have to be scared when you try things. Every time you try something new,
That's a beautiful final thought. Thank you very much for this. Okay, so the conversation goes on, and parents can join as well. It's not a spectator sport. You can join. You don't have to dance to join the conversation. You can actually just talk. So it's it's all right. Are you going as well? Are you going or are you staying?
What do you want?
I have to go to the
you have to. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so the class starts right now. Final thoughts? Okay, it's finishing. Okay.
Just do it, cause if you don't,
how are you gonna know?
You can't. But
no.
If you can't do it, I'm going to say it to the world. Never, ever, don't try. Cause if you don't try, you can't. So
I think that's a really brilliant message. I think the world should take take.
You try. If you try, you can. If you don't try, you can't.
Okay, it's very simple.
So it's as simple as dancing, cause this is even a dance. And if you do this, like
do
this,
that's a dance as well, I guess.
Then you can learn it. So that's why you just need to practice.
I mean, what about your parents? Do they dance? Do they kind of learn from you?
My father does dance. I don't know what's it called in English. Not in Netherlands, I forget. But
what's it called in Dutch?
In Dutch? Ooh, I don't know.
Okay.
In Dutch, I don't know, but just dance.
Just dance, just do it, just try it.
Because every dance you can learn. So if you do it, you're going on this dance school, and then you can learn more.
Okay, so keep dancing. That's what we're talking about right now. And any final thoughts from you before you go to the class? Any messages to the world?
So like, I should dance, then you are making fun, and after you make fun, then you are happy.
Oh.
And actually, you always have to be happy. I mean, when you are angry or mad, why are you angry or mad for? I mean, you can just be happy.
Yeah. I mean, dance, be happy, do it for fun, and keep the fun going, yeah?
I mean, you can also, it's not only dancing, it's also like reading a book, playing with somebody, gaming, somebody, or drawing. It can be everything.
Okay.
But just be happy.
Just be happy. That's the message to the world. Thank you so much for sticking around. You've had your final thought. You have to go to the class. Yes, I know. I'm so sorry.
I can do one final trick.
A final thought. You can say anything you like.
I can do one thing before I go.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
How amazing is it?
But it's over.
1 second, we'll just watch it. Way! That was brilliant. Does it have a name, this move?
Yes.
What's it called?
The monkey kick.
The monkey kick. Okay, maybe we'll practice that after Tokyoki. Final thought?
The dance class is now over.
Oh,
you missed it. Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry.
were here talking and now it's over.
Oh,
like
no.
we talk so much.
But you've done really well. But you know, talking about dance is part of the dance practice
I hope
as
I
well.
will do this again with you and.
Amazing, and we hope that too. Any final thoughts? What are you going to be doing for the rest of today?
I don't know.
Okay, so you're an open book in a way. You can go anywhere, do anything at all, yeah? Fantastic, thank you so much for sticking around. I think, are we coming to the kind of, we're winding down. Maybe we'll join you in a kind of dance. But I just want to big up everybody who took part in Tokyoki, part of MozFest. Thank you everybody, thank you Casey, Mikey, and Simon, and your name was?
Aymar
and? Aoife. And my name is Margot. Let's just keep the conversation going. I'm gonna go out and dance because I've been doing a lot of talking, and have a lovely afternoon everybody. Goodbye Amsterdam.